A pregnant girl is cruelly mocked during a job interview in front of everyone, but everything changes when the new CEO walks in, locks eyes with her, and falls in love instantly. But before we dive into the full story, let me know where you're watching from and what time it is. Now, subscribe to the channel and let's get started. The morning sickness hits Emma just as she reaches the bus stop. She doubles over, one hand steadying herself against the metal pole, the other protectively covering her barely visible baby bump. "Breathe, just breathe," she tells herself, ignoring the uncomfortable stares from other commuters. At 22, Emma Parker isn't where she expected to be, 6 months pregnant, abandoned by her boyfriend, and desperately hunting for a job that might give her child a fighting chance. The Westfield Corporation building towers above her as she steps off the bus, its glass exterior reflecting the morning sun like a beacon of hope. Emma adjusts her second-hand blazer, purchased specifically for this interview. It's slightly too large, an attempt to conceal her pregnancy, though she knows it's becoming harder to hide. She's chosen to wear a loose-fitting blouse underneath, dark blue with small white dots, a small concession to her usual colorful style. Today is her 7th job interview in 2 weeks, 6 rejections so far. 6 polite emails saying they've decided to move forward with other candidates. Emma isn't naive. She knows what happens when hiring managers notice her condition. Their expressions shift, pity mixed with calculation, as they mentally tally maternity leave costs and potential complications. But Westfield is different, she tells herself. Their HR department specifically mentioned their commitment to diversity and inclusion. Maybe here, her qualifications might actually matter more than her circumstance. "You can do this," Emma whispers to herself as she rides the elevator to the 15th floor. For the baby, the receptionist, a woman with perfectly styled hair and an equally perfect smile, directs Emma to a waiting area where 3 other candidates sit, all dressed in immaculate business attire. Emma suddenly feels self-conscious about her blazer's loose thread and the scuff marks on her only pair of professional shoes. "I shouldn't be here," she thinks, doubt creeping in. "These people look like they belong in corporate America. I'm just playing dress-up." Her phone buzzes with a text from her roommate, Jade. "Good luck today, you're going to crush it." Emma smiles, grateful for the support. Jade has been her rock since Tyler walked out 3 months ago when Emma refused to take care of the problem. His words, not hers. "The baby is not a problem," she had insisted. "The baby is a person." Their argument ended with Tyler packing his things and leaving their shared apartment without a backward glance. Emma's name is called, snapping her back to reality. A stern-looking woman with rectangular glasses and a clipboard appears in the doorway. "Ms. Parker, I'm Margaret Hewitt, head of Human Resources." Emma rises, extending her hand for a handshake that Margaret returns with businesslike efficiency. Margaret leads her down a hallway into a conference room where 3 other people are seated around a large table. "These are some of our department heads who will be conducting your interview today," Margaret explains, gesturing to each person in turn. Emma smiles nervously as she's introduced to David from marketing, Sophia from finance, and Benjamin from operations. As Emma moves to take her seat, her blazer shifts, momentarily revealing the curve of her stomach. She catches Benjamin's eyes flickering downward, his expression changing almost imperceptibly. Emma's heart sinks. "Here we go again. Please tell us about yourself, Ms. Parker," Margaret begins, her tone already cooler than it had been moments ago. Emma launches into her prepared introduction, highlighting her business administration degree and her internship experience. She's only halfway through when Benjamin interrupts. "Excuse me, but is there something you'd like to disclose before we proceed further?" His tone is pointed, professional on the surface but with an unmistakable edge. Emma feels her face flush. "I'm not sure what you mean," she responds, though she knows exactly what he's referring to. Benjamin sighs, exchanging glances with Margaret. "Ms. Parker, we value transparency at Westfield. It appears you're expecting, and that's something you should have mentioned in your application materials." Emma's throat tightens. "I didn't think it was relevant to my qualifications for this position," she says, fighting to keep her voice steady. Margaret's pen clicks repeatedly against her clipboard. "It's relevant to scheduling, potential leave requirements, and team planning," she states matter-of-factly. "We need employees who can commit fully to their roles." "I am fully committed," Emma insists, desperation creeping into her voice. "My personal situation won't affect my work performance." Sophia, who has remained silent, gives Emma a sympathetic look but says nothing. David shuffles his papers, visibly uncomfortable with the direction of the conversation. "Let's continue," Margaret says with forced professionalism. "How would you handle multiple deadlines in a fast-paced environment?" The interview proceeds, but Emma can feel it's merely a formality now. The questions come rapid-fire, barely giving her time to answer before they move on. She tries to showcase her skills, her dedication, but their minds are made up. She's damaged goods, a liability. "And how do you see yourself balancing work responsibilities with your upcoming personal obligations?" Benjamin asks with thinly veiled disapproval. A flash of anger cuts through Emma's anxiety. "I'm extremely organized and capable of managing multiple priorities," she answers, looking him directly in the eye. "Many working mothers successfully balance careers and families. I don't see why I would be any different." Benjamin's lips press into a tight line. "Yes, but established employees have already proven their value to the company. New hires with immediate leave requirements present a different situation entirely." Emma's hands clench beneath the table. "I'm not asking for special treatment. I'm asking for a fair chance based on my qualifications." A knock at the door interrupts the tense exchange. A young assistant pokes her head in, looking nervous. "I'm so sorry to interrupt, but Mr. Westfield is here. He asked to sit in on some interviews today. May I send him in?" Margaret's demeanor instantly transforms, her back straightening as she smooths her already immaculate hair. "Of course, please do." Emma's stomach tightens with anxiety. "Great," she thinks, "another person to witness my humiliation." The door opens wider and a man enters. He's tall, perhaps in his mid-30s, with dark hair and alert eyes that seem to take in the entire room at once. He's wearing a perfectly tailored charcoal suit that Emma guesses probably costs more than 3 months of her rent. "Please don't let me interrupt," he says, his voice deeper than Emma expected. "I just want to observe." Everyone seems to straighten in their chairs, including Emma. This must be Alexander Westfield, the new CEO who took over after his father's retirement. Emma vaguely remembers reading about him in a business magazine. Harvard Business School, turned around several failing companies, recently returned from expanding operations in Europe. "We were just discussing Ms. Parker's situation," Benjamin offers with pointed emphasis, glancing meaningfully at Emma's midsection. Alexander Westfield raises an eyebrow. "And what situation would that be?" The room falls uncomfortably silent. Emma feels her cheeks burning as 4 pairs of eyes dart between her stomach and the CEO's inquiring gaze. Emma fights the urge to cover her belly with her hands. "I'm pregnant, Mr. Westfield," she states plainly, deciding that directness is her only remaining option. "Your colleagues seem concerned about how this might impact my potential employment here." Alexander's expression remains unreadable as he takes a seat at the head of the table. "I see. And how far along are you, if you don't mind my asking?" 6 months, Emma answers, her chin lifting slightly in defiance. To her surprise, Alexander nods thoughtfully rather than dismissively. "And you're still pursuing new employment at this stage?" "I need this job, Mr. Westfield," Emma responds honestly. "My circumstances have changed, but my abilities and commitment haven't." Alexander turns to Margaret. "What position is Ms. Parker applying for?" Margaret consults her clipboard, though Emma suspects she doesn't actually need to. "Administrative assistant in the marketing department, sir. And her qualifications?" "She has the basic requirements," Margaret admits reluctantly. business administration degree, some relevant internship experience. Alexander turns back to Emma, his gaze direct but not unkind. Why Westfield Corporation, Ms. Parker? Emma takes a deep breath. This is the question she's prepared for, the one she actually wants to answer. Because your company has built its reputation on innovation and adaptation, she begins. You don't just respond to market changes, you anticipate them. I admire that forward-thinking approach. She pauses, then decides to take a risk. I believe that same philosophy should extend to your workforce. The most innovative companies recognize that employees' lives aren't static. They change, they evolve, just like markets do. A flash of something, surprise perhaps or interest, crosses Alexander's face. For a moment the room is silent except for Margaret's pen scratching against her clipboard. Benjamin clears his throat. Mr. Westfield, while Ms. Parker's perspective is interesting, we have to consider the practical implications of hiring someone who will require leave almost immediately after training. Alexander leans back in his chair, his fingers steepled beneath his chin. Tell me, Benjamin, how many employees do we currently have on various forms of leave? Medical, family, sabbatical? Benjamin blinks, clearly caught off guard. I don't have those exact figures on hand. 14, Alexander states. 14 valued team members who are managing significant life events while remaining part of the Westfield family. He turns to Margaret. How many new parents returned to work after leave last year? Margaret consults her notes. 11 out of 13, sir. An 85% retention rate, Alexander muses. That suggests to me that supporting employees through major life transitions actually fosters loyalty, wouldn't you agree? Emma watches this exchange with growing astonishment. Is he defending her? Alexander turns back to Emma. Ms. Parker, what would you say is your greatest strength? Emma pushes aside her surprise and focuses. My adaptability, she answers without hesitation. I learn quickly and adjust to new situations. When problems arise, I don't waste time complaining. I look for solutions. As if to punctuate her point, the baby chooses that moment to deliver a sharp kick. Emma instinctively places her hand on her belly, a brief smile crossing her face before she returns her attention to the interview. Alexander notices the gesture. His expression softens almost imperceptibly. And your greatest challenge? Emma considers this carefully, knowing her answer matters more than ever. Currently, it's fighting preconceptions, she admits, proving that my pregnancy doesn't diminish my capabilities or commitment. She meets his gaze directly. But I've never backed down from a challenge, Mr. Westfield, and I don't intend to start now. For the first time since entering the room, Alexander smiles. It transforms his face, warming his features and reaching his eyes. Well, that makes two of us, Ms. Parker. He rises suddenly, startling everyone at the table. I've heard enough. Margaret, could you please show Ms. Parker to my office after you've concluded here? I'd like to continue our conversation privately. Without waiting for a response, he nods politely to everyone and exits, leaving a stunned silence in his wake. Margaret's mouth opens and closes before she regains her composure. Well, shall we continue? The remainder of the interview passes in a blur. The questions become perfunctory, the atmosphere charged with confused tension. When it finally concludes, Margaret leads Emma to the elevator, her manner now uncomfortably deferential. Mr. Westfield rarely sits in on interviews, she explains stiffly as they ride to the executive floor. Even more rarely does he request private meetings with candidates. Emma nods, unsure how to respond. Her mind races with possibilities. Is this a good sign? Or does he want to let her down personally, perhaps concerned about potential discrimination claims? The elevator doors open to reveal a sleek reception area. Margaret leads Emma to a set of imposing double doors, knocks once, and ushers her inside before quickly retreating. Alexander Westfield stands by a wall of windows overlooking the city. He turns as Emma enters, that same unexpected smile returning to his face. "Ms. Parker," he says warmly, "please take a seat, and call me Alex." Alex gestures toward a sleek leather chair positioned across from his imposing desk. Despite its modern design, the chair is surprisingly comfortable as Emma sinks into it, grateful to take the weight off her swollen feet. The office is spacious yet tasteful, glass, steel, and warm wood accents with a few carefully selected art pieces adorning the walls. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, the city sprawls below them like a living map. "Water? Coffee? Tea?" Alex offers, moving to a small built-in bar area. "Water would be wonderful, thank you," Emma replies, trying to keep her voice steady despite the nerves fluttering in her stomach. She watches as he fills a glass from a filtered dispenser, his movements efficient and deliberate. "I apologize for what happened downstairs," he says, handing her the water. "That's not how we conduct interviews at Westfield, or at least, it's not how we should." Emma takes a sip, buying herself a moment to consider her response. "Thank you for saying that, but I've been to enough interviews recently to know it's not unusual." Alex takes his seat behind the desk, his brow furrowing. "How many companies have turned you away because of your pregnancy?" 6, Emma answers honestly. Not that they ever say that's the reason. They're too smart for that. It's always, "We've found a candidate whose experience better aligns with our needs." A flash of anger crosses Alex's face before he composes himself. That's both illegal and short-sighted. "It's also reality," Emma says with a shrug that she hopes appears more nonchalant than she feels. "I understand the calculation. Why hire someone who'll need leave in a few months when you could hire someone who won't?" "Because that someone who won't might not have your qualifications or perspective," Alex counters. He leans forward, resting his elbows on the desk. "Tell me about yourself, Emma. Not the rehearsed interview version. The real story." Emma hesitates, caught off guard by his directness and the casual use of her first name. "What would you like to know?" "Whatever you're comfortable sharing," he says. "Your background, your education, how you ended up interviewing here today. I find that understanding a person's journey tells me far more than a resume ever could." Emma takes another sip of water, buying time to organize her thoughts. Is this a test? Part of the interview? Or is he genuinely interested? "I grew up in Monroe, about an hour from here," she begins cautiously. "Small town, working-class family. My dad works construction, mom's a nurse's aide. I was the first in my family to go to college." She pauses, then decides honesty is her best strategy. "I worked 2 jobs to put myself through school, graduated with honors last year with a business administration degree and a minor in digital marketing." Alex nods, his expression attentive. "Impressive. And after graduation?" "I landed an internship at Meridian Advertising. It was supposed to convert to a full-time position, but the company went through a restructuring." Emma doesn't mention that the restructuring happened right around the time she discovered her pregnancy and that her supervisor's enthusiasm about her future at the company mysteriously cooled. "Since then I've been freelancing and job hunting." "And the baby's father?" Alex asks, then immediately holds up a hand. "I apologize. That's personal and not relevant to your professional qualifications." Emma appreciates the acknowledgement but decides to answer anyway. "He's not in the picture. He made his choice when I decided to keep the baby." Something flickers in Alex's eyes. Sympathy, perhaps, or recognition. "His loss," he says simply, and Emma is surprised by the conviction in his voice. Alex stands suddenly, moving to the window. For a moment he gazes out at the city before turning back to her. "I'm going to be direct, Ms. Parker. I was impressed by how you handled yourself in that interview. You showed poise under pressure and didn't back down when challenged. Those are qualities I value highly." Emma feels a small spark of hope ignite. "Thank you, Mr. Westfield." "Alex, please," he insists with a slight smile. "Here's what I'm thinking. The position you applied for doesn't fully utilize your capabilities. With your education and background in digital marketing, I believe you'd be better suited for our marketing strategy team." Emma blinks in surprise. "That's several levels above an administrative assistant position." "Yes, it is," Alex agrees. "And normally, we'd require more years of experience. But I've learned to recognize potential when I see it, and I believe you have the intelligence and drive to grow into the role quickly." Emma's mind races. This is beyond anything she could have hoped for walking into the building this morning, yet a thread of suspicion weaves through her excitement. "Mr. Westfield, Alex," she corrects herself. "While I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunity, I have to ask, is this offer because you feel sorry for me?" Alex's expression sobers. "Do I sympathize with your situation? Yes. Am I offering you this position because of that sympathy? Absolutely not." He returns to his desk, leaning forward slightly. "Westfield Corporation is not a charity, Emma. I'm making this offer because I believe you'll bring value to our team. Your perspective as a young woman navigating significant life changes while pursuing professional goals gives you insights that many of our current marketing strategists lack." His words sound sincere, but Emma still hesitates. "The timing of my maternity leave would come fairly soon after starting. I wouldn't want to begin a position only to step away almost immediately. Which is why I'm proposing a modified onboarding structure," Alex explains. "You'd start part-time for the first month, focusing on training and integration with the team. This allows you to manage your prenatal appointments and preparation. After the baby comes, you'll take 3 months of fully paid leave, then return with the option of a flexible schedule for the first quarter." Emma stares at him, speechless. "That's extremely generous." "It's practical," Alex counters. "It means we get to secure a promising talent while setting her up for long-term success. The investment now pays dividends later." He smiles slightly. "Besides, I've found that employees who feel supported during challenging times tend to be exceptionally loyal and productive when they return." Emma wants to accept immediately. This opportunity is beyond anything she could have imagined, but caution holds her back. "May I ask why you're taking such a personal interest in my hiring? Surely the CEO doesn't normally get involved at this level." Something shifts in Alex's expression, a momentary vulnerability quickly masked. "Let's just say I have personal reasons for believing in second chances and judging people on their potential rather than their circumstances." He straightens, his professional demeanor returning. "Plus, I've been working to reshape company culture since taking over from my father 6 months ago. This is an opportunity to put those values into practice." Emma nods slowly, processing this information. "What would the compensation be for this position?" Alex names a figure that makes Emma's eyes widen, nearly double what she'd expected for the administrative role. "That's very generous," she manages. "It's the standard range for the position," Alex clarifies. "I don't believe in discounting talent." A knock at the door interrupts them. Alex's assistant pokes her head in. "I'm sorry, Mr. Westfield, but your 3 o'clock is waiting." Alex nods. "Thank you, Claire. I'll be just another moment." He turns back to Emma as the door closes. "I don't mean to rush you, but do you have any other questions I can answer now?" Emma's mind is swimming with questions, but one rises to the surface. "Why me? There must be dozens of qualified candidates without the complications I bring." Alex studies her for a moment, his expression thoughtful. "Sometimes, Miss Parker, the most promising candidates are the ones who have demonstrated resilience in the face of challenges, not those who have had smooth sailing." He reaches into his desk drawer and pulls out a business card, writing something on the back before handing it to her. "My direct line is on the back. Take 24 hours to consider the offer. If you accept, you can start on Monday." Emma rises, taking the card with slightly trembling fingers. "Thank you for this opportunity. Truly." Alex walks her to the door, stopping just before opening it. "One more thing, Emma. Whatever you decide, I want you to know that what happened in that interview room was wrong. You deserve to be evaluated on your merits, not your maternal status." His words, spoken with quiet conviction, touch something deep within Emma. For a moment they stand there, a current of understanding passing between them that feels strangely intimate for two people who have just met. "Until tomorrow, then," Alex says, finally breaking the silence as he opens the door. Emma nods, suddenly unable to trust her voice. As she walks toward the elevator, his business card clutched in her hand, she feels as though she's in a dream. A dream where corporate executives champion pregnant women and offer them opportunities instead of rejections. It's only when she's halfway home on the bus that doubt begins to creep in. Could there be another reason for his interest? Men like Alexander Westfield, wealthy, powerful, handsome, don't typically go out of their way for women like her without expecting something in return. But what could he possibly want? Emma's phone buzzes with a text from Jade. "How did it go? Tell me everything." Emma stares at the phone, unsure how to even begin explaining the strange turn her day has taken. She settles for, "You won't believe what happened. I'll tell you when I get home." The apartment she shares with Jade is small but cozy, located in an older building in a transitioning neighborhood. When Emma walks in, she finds Jade perched on their second-hand couch, practically vibrating with anticipation. "Well?" Jade demands before Emma even closes the door. "Did you get it? Wait, why are you making that face? Did something bad happen?" Emma drops her bag and collapses next to her friend, kicking off her uncomfortable interview shoes with a groan of relief. "I honestly don't know if something bad or something amazing happened. It was the strangest interview of my life." She recounts the story: the hostile interview committee, Alexander Westfield's unexpected intervention, and the surprising job offer. "Holy crap," Jade breathes when Emma finishes. "The CEO himself offered you a job, a better job than the one you applied for, with maternity benefits and everything?" "Yeah," Emma confirms, still processing it herself. "And that's not even the strangest part. There was this moment—" She trails off, unsure how to describe the connection she'd felt with Alexander, no, Alex, in those final seconds in his office. Jade's eyes narrow with interest. "What kind of moment? Like, he's totally into you moment?" "No, of course not," Emma protests, though her cheeks warm at the suggestion. "It was just, I don't know, like he really saw me. Not as a pregnant girl or a charity case, but as a person with actual value." "Sweetie, that's called basic human decency, and the fact that it feels remarkable says a lot about how people have been treating you lately," Jade says, her voice gentle. "But also, was he hot? He looks hot in those business magazine photos." "Jade!" Emma throws a small decorative pillow at her friend, but can't help laughing. "That is so not the point." "So he was hot," Jade concludes with a triumphant grin. "But seriously, are you going to take the job?" Emma's laughter fades as she considers the question. "I mean, I'd be crazy not to, right? The salary alone would change everything for me and the baby, but you're wondering if there's a catch," Jade finishes for her. "If he's expecting something in return." "Is that terrible of me, to question his motives?" Emma asks, guilt mingling with her suspicion. "It's smart," Jade corrects her. "Pretty rich guys don't usually play fairy godfather without a reason. But hey, maybe his reason is actually decent. Maybe he really does just see your potential." Emma rubs her belly absently as the baby shifts. "I guess I'll find out on Monday." "So you're taking it?" Jade asks, excitement creeping back into her voice. Emma nods slowly, then with increasing certainty. Yes, I'm taking it. Whatever his reasons, this is an opportunity I can't pass up, for the baby's sake if nothing else." "For your sake too," Jade insists, squeezing Emma's hand. "You deserve this chance, Em." Later that night, as Emma lies in bed, she takes out Alex's business card again, running her thumb over the embossed Westfield logo. His handwritten note on the back simply reads, "Looking forward to your decision, A.W." She should be exhausted after the emotional roller coaster of the day, but her mind won't stop replaying every moment of their conversation, analyzing his expressions, his tone, searching for hidden meanings or warning signs she might have missed. What does Alexander Westfield really want from her? And why can't she stop thinking about the way his eyes had softened when he smiled? "It doesn't matter," she whispers to herself, placing the card on her nightstand. "This is just business, a job, nothing more." But as she drifts toward sleep, it's his face that follows her into her dreams. Monday morning arrives with a mixture of excitement and anxiety that has Emma awake before her alarm. She stands before the modest selection of maternity clothes hanging in her closet, wishing she had more appropriate options for a marketing strategy position. Most of her professional wardrobe was purchased with administrative roles in mind, and even those pieces are stretched to their limits by her growing bump. "Wear the navy dress with the white cardigan," Jade suggests, appearing in Emma's doorway with 2 mugs of herbal tea. "It's the most executive-looking thing you own." Emma accepts the tea gratefully. "I called my mom yesterday," she admits. "Told her about the job." "And?" Jade raises an eyebrow. "Was she thrilled or suspicious?" "Both." Emma laughs softly. "She's sending me her credit card to buy some new work clothes. Said it's an investment in her grandchild's future." "Your mom is the best," Jade says, perching on the edge of Emma's bed. "So, are you ready for this?" Emma takes a deep breath. "As ready as I'll ever be. I just hope I haven't gotten in over my head." "You've got this," Jade assures her. "Remember, they chose you. They see something in you." "He sees something in me," Emma thinks but doesn't say aloud. The memory of Alex Westfield's intense gaze still makes her stomach flutter in a way that has nothing to do with the baby. An hour later, Emma stands in the lobby of Westfield Corporation, clutching the temporary ID badge that security has issued her. The atrium buzzes with Monday morning energy, employees streaming in with coffee cups and laptop bags, visitors checking in at reception, the soft ping of elevators arriving and departing. Emma Parker, a tall woman with a geometric bob and striking red glasses, approaches. "I'm Vivian Chen, Director of Marketing Strategy. Alex asked me to get you settled in today." Emma shakes her outstretched hand. "Thank you for meeting me, Ms. Chen. I'm looking forward to joining the team." "Vivian, please," she says with a warm smile that eases some of Emma's nervousness. "And just between us, the whole department is curious about you. It's not often that Alex personally places someone on our team." Emma's cheeks warm. "I hope I can live up to expectations." "I'm sure you will," Vivian says, guiding her toward the elevators. "Alex has good instincts about people. When he told me about your background in digital marketing, I was quite excited. We've been trying to expand our capabilities in that area." As they ride to the 12th floor, Vivian outlines the structure of the marketing department and the specific team Emma will be joining. It's clear from her detailed explanation that Alex has thoroughly briefed her on Emma's modified onboarding plan. "Your office is right here," Vivian says, leading Emma into a modest but well-appointed space with a desk, visitor chair, and a small window with a view of the city. "It's not huge, but it's private. Most of our junior strategists are in cubicles." "It's perfect," Emma says, surprised by the special treatment. "I've scheduled a team meeting at 10 so everyone can meet you," Vivian continues. "But first, let's get your computer set up and your access sorted." The morning passes in a whirlwind of introductions, system setups, and orientation procedures. Emma meets her team, 7 other marketing strategists with varying levels of seniority, and begins to get a sense of the projects they're working on. Everyone is professional, if a bit curious about the new hire who has apparently caught the CEO's attention. By lunchtime, Emma's head is swimming with information, and her back aches from sitting in new positions. She's just considering where she might find something to eat when a knock sounds on her office door. Settling in? Alex Westfield stands in her doorway, looking even more impressive in a navy suit that Emma suspects cost more than 3 months of her new salary. "Mr. Westfield," Emma says, startled. "Yes, everyone's been very helpful." "Alex," he reminds her with a small smile. "I hope you don't mind, but I thought you might join me for lunch today. I'd like to hear your initial impressions." Emma hesitates, aware of how this might appear to her new colleagues. "That's very kind, but I wouldn't want to take up your time." "I insist," Alex says, his tone light but leaving little room for refusal. "Besides, there are some projects I'd like to discuss with you specifically." Seeing no graceful way to decline, Emma gathers her phone and notebook. As Alex leads her toward the executive elevator, she feels the curious eyes of her team members following them. They're wondering why the CEO is taking the new pregnant girl to lunch, Emma observes quietly as the elevator doors close. Alex's mouth quirks. Let them wonder. It might inspire some innovative thinking. The restaurant is only a block from the Westfield building but feels worlds away from the corporate environment. It's an upscale farm-to-table establishment with private booths and soft lighting. The maitre d' greets Alex by name and shows them to a secluded table in the back. "You must come here often," Emma comments as they settle in. "It's convenient," Alex replies, "and they respect privacy. The media tends to be interested in who I'm dining with these days." Emma hadn't considered that aspect of his position. That must be difficult. "It comes with the territory," he says with a shrug. "Now, tell me about your morning. How was Vivian?" "Very welcoming," Emma says truthfully, "though I think she's as curious as everyone else about why you hired me." Alex takes a sip of water. "I told her you have a unique perspective that would be valuable to the team. That's all she needs to know." The waiter appears with menus, and Emma is grateful for the momentary distraction. The prices make her eyes widen, but Alex doesn't seem to notice her dismay. "The salmon is excellent," he recommends. "Unless you have aversions, I know pregnancy can change food preferences." The casual reference to her condition catches Emma off guard. Most people treat her pregnancy like an awkward secret, but Alex mentions it as naturally as commenting on the weather. "Salmon is fine," she says, closing her menu. "I've been lucky with minimal food aversions." After they order, Alex steers the conversation toward marketing, asking pointed questions about Emma's experiences and opinions. It becomes clear that this isn't just a courtesy lunch. He's genuinely interested in her professional perspective. "You mentioned digital marketing as your area of interest," he says as their meals arrive. "What trends do you think Westfield should be paying attention to?" Emma hesitates only briefly before diving into her thoughts on interactive content and personalization strategies. Alex listens intently, occasionally asking clarifying questions that reveal his own deep understanding of the subject. "That's exactly the kind of thinking we need," he says when she finishes. "Our current approach is too conservative, too traditional. We need fresh perspectives." "Why mine, though?" Emma can't help asking. "I mean, there must be hundreds of marketing graduates with innovative ideas. Why take a chance on me specifically?" Alex sets down his fork, his expression becoming more serious. "Do you know what Westfield's biggest challenge is right now, Emma?" She considers this. Adapting to changing consumer behaviors in a digital landscape? That's part of it, he acknowledges. But our core issue is more fundamental. We've lost touch with significant segments of our potential customer base. The people making decisions at Westfield come from similar backgrounds, similar experiences. They see the world through a limited lens. Alex leans forward slightly. "When I walked into that interview room and saw how they were treating you, a qualified candidate facing a personal challenge, I realized you were exactly the kind of voice we need. Someone who understands struggle, adaptation, and perseverance firsthand." Emma absorbs this, trying to reconcile the business logic with the personal interest he seems to be taking in her. "So I'm... what? A diversity hire?" "You're a strategic addition," Alex corrects firmly. with the potential to bring valuable insights that our current team lacks. Your pregnancy isn't a liability, Emma. In this context, it's an asset. Before Emma can respond, a statuesque blonde approaches their table. She's impeccably dressed in a designer suit, her hair and makeup flawless. "Alex, darling, I thought that was you," she says, her voice carrying a slight European accent. Her gaze slides to Emma, assessing her in one sweeping glance. "Aren't you going to introduce me to your lunch companion?" Alex's expression tightens almost imperceptibly. "Victoria, I didn't realize you were back from Milan." He turns to Emma. "Emma Parker, this is Victoria Caldwell, an old family friend. Victoria, Emma has just joined our marketing strategy team." Victoria's perfectly sculpted eyebrows rise as she takes in Emma's obvious pregnancy. "How progressive of you, Alex. Your father would be surprised by your hiring choices." The subtle barb is delivered with a smile, but Emma feels its sting nonetheless. Alex's jaw tightens. "My father's outdated perspectives are precisely why changes were needed at Westfield," he says coolly. "Emma brings exceptional qualifications and fresh thinking to our team." Victoria's smile doesn't reach her eyes. "I'm sure she does. Well, I won't interrupt your mentoring lunch. We should catch up soon, Alex. I'll have my assistant call yours." With a last pointed look at Emma, she saunters away. "I apologize for Victoria," Alex says once she's out of earshot. "She and my father had certain expectations that I haven't fulfilled." "She's your ex?" Emma guesses. "Almost my fiancée, according to my father's plans," Alex confirms with a grimace. "Victoria's family and mine have known each other for generations. A merger of our families would have been very advantageous, at least in my father's view." "But not in yours." Alex's expression softens as he looks at Emma. "I believe in choosing one's own path, both in business and in personal matters. Don't you?" There's something in his gaze that makes Emma's pulse quicken. She reminds herself firmly that this is her boss, her CEO, and any fluttering feelings are inappropriate and probably one-sided. "Yes," she agrees quietly, "though sometimes circumstances limit our choices." "Circumstances can be changed," Alex replies with conviction. He glances at his watch and signals for the check. "We should head back. I have a board meeting at 2. As they walk back to the Westfield building, Emma can't help but wonder about the man beside her. His defense of her to Victoria seemed genuine, as does his vision for bringing new perspectives to the company. Yet his interest in her specifically still puzzles her. At the elevator, Alex presses the button for her floor. "I've asked Vivian to involve you in the Meridian campaign. I think your background will be particularly valuable there." Emma's surprise must show on her face because Alex smiles. "Yes, I remember that you interned at Meridian Advertising. That experience could give us an edge in pitching to them." "You really did your research on me," Emma observes. "I like to know who I'm working with," Alex replies simply. As the elevator arrives at her floor, he adds, "We have a standing executive dinner on Thursdays. I'd like you to join us this week. Vivian will fill you in on the details." Before Emma can formulate a response, the doors open, and she finds herself stepping out into her new professional world, Alex Westfield's attention still lingering like a warm current at her back. Back in her office, Emma sits down heavily, one hand absently stroking her belly as the baby turns and kicks. What exactly has she gotten herself into? And why does Alexander Westfield's interest in her professional development feel so personal? A calendar invitation pops up on her computer screen. Executive dinner, Thursday, 7 p.m. The reality of her new position settles around her shoulders. Whatever Alex's reasons for hiring her, Emma is determined to prove that his faith in her professional abilities is justified. She turns to her computer and pulls up the Meridian file that Vivian has shared with her. This, at least, is something she understands. This, she can handle. The personal dynamics with Alexander Westfield, That's territory she's far less equipped to navigate. By Thursday, Emma has settled into something resembling a routine at Westfield Corporation. Her days are filled with project briefings, strategy sessions, and research for the Meridian campaign. Vivian has proven to be a supportive manager, patiently explaining company protocols while encouraging Emma's fresh ideas. Her team members, initially cautious around the CEO's mysterious new hire, have gradually warmed to her as they've recognized her genuine enthusiasm and marketing insights. Emma takes the subway home each evening exhausted but exhilarated. For the first time since discovering her pregnancy, she feels a sense of purpose beyond simply surviving. She's building something, a career, a future for herself and her baby. But the looming executive dinner has been a source of growing anxiety all week. When Thursday arrives, Emma finds herself standing in front of her bathroom mirror, critically examining her appearance. "You look great," Jade assures her, leaning against the doorframe with a cup of tea in hand. "That dress is perfect." Emma smooths the fabric of the navy blue maternity dress, one of several professional pieces she'd purchased with her mother's credit card. The classic cut and subtle ruching flatter her changing figure while maintaining a professional appearance. "I don't want to look like I'm trying too hard," Emma frets, adjusting a pearl earring, a graduation gift from her parents. "But I also need to look like I belong at an executive dinner." "Han, you're overthinking this. It's a business dinner, not a coronation," Jade says with affectionate exasperation. "Though I still think it's weird that the CEO wants the new girl at an executive dinner." "He said he wants fresh perspectives," Emma replies, repeating Alex's explanation. "And I do have experience with Meridian, which is apparently a major potential client." Jade gives her a skeptical look. And it has nothing to do with the way his eyes follow you around the room?" "They don't," Emma begins to protest, then stops herself. She's noticed the way Alex looks at her, observant, attentive, with something that seems to go beyond professional interest. But acknowledging that aloud feels dangerous, like stepping onto thin ice. "It's not like that. He's just invested in my success at the company." "If you say so," Jade shrugs, clearly unconvinced. "Just be careful, Em. Office romances are complicated enough without adding a power differential the size of the Grand Canyon." "There is no romance," Emma insists, grabbing her purse with more force than necessary. "He's my boss. End of story." But as the Uber drops her off at Le Ciel, one of the city's most exclusive restaurants, Emma's certainty wavers. This doesn't feel like a typical business dinner, despite what Alex had called it. The restaurant occupies the top floor of a historic building, its Art Deco interior and panoramic city views creating an undeniably romantic ambiance. A hostess leads Emma to a private dining room where several people are already gathered, champagne flutes in hand. She recognizes Vivian, who waves her over with a warm smile. "Emma, you made it. Let me introduce you to everyone." Vivian guides her through introductions to the CFO, the head of product development, and two other executives whose titles Emma immediately forgets as she tries to calm her nerves. They're all welcoming but clearly curious about her presence. "Alex has spoken highly of your digital marketing insights," the CFO mentions, studying Emma with interest. "He seems to think you'll bring a valuable perspective to our Meridian pitch." "I hope so," Emma replies modestly. "I did learn a lot during my time there about their corporate culture and priorities. And here I thought he was just trying to diversify our stuffy executive dinners," jokes the product development head, gesturing with his champagne. "We're usually just a bunch of middle-aged men in suits talking about golf handicaps." Everyone laughs and Emma relaxes slightly, accepting a glass of sparkling water from a passing server. The conversation shifts to casual topics: a recent industry award ceremony, a new restaurant that opened downtown, the unseasonably warm weather. Emma is listening to Vivian describe her recent vacation when she feels a subtle shift in the room's energy. The others straighten almost imperceptibly, their attention drawn to the doorway. She turns to see Alex entering, looking striking in a charcoal suit that emphasizes his broad shoulders. His eyes find hers immediately, and a smile warms his features. Emma, you made it. Excellent. He moves through the group, greeting everyone with easy familiarity, but Emma can't help noticing that he positions himself beside her as they're directed to the dining table. Sorry I'm late, Alex says as they take their seats. Board call ran long. I hope everyone's been making Emma feel welcome? We were just telling her that we're glad to have a fresh face among us dinosaurs. The CFO responds good-naturedly. More than just a fresh face, Alex corrects, his tone light but with an undercurrent of seriousness. Emma's already made valuable contributions to the Meridian strategy. Vivian, would you agree? Vivian nods enthusiastically. Absolutely. Emma identified several key messaging approaches that had been overlooked in our initial planning. Her familiarity with Meridian's internal culture has been invaluable. Emma feels her cheeks warm at the praise. I'm just building on the excellent foundation the team had already established. And modest too, the product development head comments. A rare quality these days. As dinner progresses, Emma slowly relaxes into the conversation. The executives are surprisingly down to earth, sharing industry gossip and swapping stories about marketing campaigns gone wrong. They seem genuinely interested in her perspective, asking thoughtful questions about digital trends and millennial consumer behavior. Throughout the meal, Emma is acutely aware of Alex beside her, the subtle cologne that teases her senses, the way he occasionally leans slightly closer when she speaks, the warmth of his arm nearly touching hers as he reaches for his water glass. Each small proximity sends a jolt of awareness through her that she struggles to ignore. So, Emma, the CFO asks over dessert, how are you finding Westfield so far? Quite a change from a boutique agency like Meridian, I imagine. It's been a tremendous learning experience, Emma answers diplomatically. The scale and resources are certainly different, but the fundamental marketing challenges are similar, understanding customer needs and communicating value effectively. Alex nods approvingly. That's precisely the cross-pollination of perspectives I was hoping for when I brought Emma on board. Sometimes larger organizations can lose sight of those fundamentals. Speaking of changes, the product development head interjects. The rumor mill says your father is less than thrilled with some of your recent innovations, Alex. Any truth to that? A subtle tension enters Alex's posture. My father is entitled to his opinions, but he's no longer running Westfield. The board has fully endorsed our new direction. Including hiring practices? Someone asks with a meaningful glance toward Emma. Alex's voice takes on a steely edge despite his casual smile. Especially hiring practices. Westfield's previous approach to talent acquisition was limited in vision. We were missing out on exceptional candidates by adhering to outdated prerequisites and biases. Emma shifts uncomfortably, aware that she has become the symbolic center of what appears to be an ongoing internal debate about the company's culture. She catches Vivian watching her with sympathy. Well, I for one am glad to see some new blood, Vivian offers, smoothly changing the subject. Now, who's going to update us on the Hansen account? I heard there were some developments this week. The conversation turns to safer business topics, and Emma silently thanks Vivian for the redirection. As coffee is served, she excuses herself to find the restroom, needing a moment to collect her thoughts. In the elegant powder room, Emma splashes cool water on her wrists, a trick her mother taught her for calming nerves. The woman looking back at her from the mirror seems like a stranger sometimes, professionally dressed, sitting among executives, discussing multi-million-dollar marketing campaigns as if she belongs there. The door opens, and Vivian enters, her expression concerned. Are you okay? You looked a bit overwhelmed back there. Emma offers a small smile. That obvious, huh? Only to someone who remembers what it's like to be the new person at the table, Vivian assures her. After checking that they're alone, she adds, Look, I should probably give you a heads up about some of the company dynamics you've walked into. Emma's stomach tightens. That would be helpful. Vivian leans against the marble counter. Alex is making significant changes at Westfield, modernizing operations, diversifying the workforce, pushing into digital markets. It's all necessary and long overdue, but it's ruffling feathers, particularly with the old guard who were loyal to his father. And I'm one of those changes, Emma concludes. You're more visible than most, Vivian acknowledges. Alex could have placed you in a junior role and let you work your way up gradually. Instead, he put you directly on the executive track and is showcasing you at events like tonight. It's making a statement. Emma frowns. I'm not sure I'm comfortable being used as a statement. I don't think that's his only motivation, Vivian says carefully. He genuinely seems to value your input, but you should be aware that there are people watching, waiting for you to fail, so they can say, see, this is what happens when we lower our standards. The warning lands heavily. Great, no pressure. Vivian squeezes her arm encouragingly. You're doing fine, Emma. More than fine. Just watch your step, especially around Alex. His interest in your success is obvious to everyone, and that creates its own complications. Before Emma can ask what exactly Vivian means by that, the door opens as another executive enters. Their conversation ends with a meaningful look from Vivian that leaves Emma with more questions than answers. When they return to the table, dessert has been cleared and some of the executives are preparing to leave. Alex rises as Emma approaches. I was about to send a search party, he says with a slight smile. I hope the evening hasn't been too tedious for you. Not at all, Emma assures him. It's been informative. Everyone's been very welcoming. I'm glad. Alex checks his watch. It's getting late. May I offer you a ride home? My driver is waiting downstairs. Emma hesitates, Vivian's warning fresh in her mind. That's very kind, but I don't want to take you out of your way. I can grab an Uber. It's no trouble, Alex insists. Besides, there's a campaign detail I wanted to discuss with you, and this would give us a few minutes. Aware of the others watching with barely concealed interest, Emma feels trapped between appearing ungrateful and putting herself in a potentially awkward situation. Well, if you're sure it's no inconvenience? Not at all, Alex says, his hand coming to rest lightly at the small of her back as he guides her toward the exit. The brief contact sends warmth cascading through her, and Emma silently scolds herself for reacting like a teenager. The sleek black town car waiting outside makes Emma's usual ride-share experiences seem shabby by comparison. The driver opens the door for them and she slides into the plush leather interior, hyper-aware of Alex settling in beside her. Where to, sir? The driver asks. Alex looks at Emma expectantly. She gives her address, feeling strangely vulnerable sharing this personal detail. As the car pulls away from the curb, a comfortable silence settles between them. The city lights slide past the tinted windows, casting alternating patterns of shadow and illumination across Alex's features. You handled yourself well tonight, he finally says. The executive team was impressed. They were very kind, Emma responds, though I got the impression some of them are wondering why I'm there at all. Alex studies her for a moment. Does that bother you? I don't want to be a token or a statement, Emma admits. I want to be valued for my actual contributions. You are, Alex says firmly, but I won't pretend there isn't a larger purpose as well. Westfield needed a shakeup, and sometimes visible changes catalyze less visible ones. Emma turns to face him more directly. Vivian mentioned there's been some resistance to your new direction. A shadow crosses Alex's expression. My father built Westfield into a powerful company, but his methods and values belong to a different era. He believes in hierarchy, tradition, clear divisions. I believe in innovation, diversity of thought, and recognizing talent wherever it appears. He pauses. We've had some disagreements about my leadership approach. Is that why you're so personally involved in my onboarding, to prove a point to your father? The question is blunter than Emma intended, but Alex doesn't seem offended. That's part of it, he acknowledges with refreshing honesty, but only part. The truth is, Emma, you remind me of someone. Who? She asks, curiosity piqued. Alex's gaze turns distant. My mother. She was brilliant, creative, determined. But she came from a modest background, and my father's family never fully accepted her. They saw her as unsuitable. His jaw tightens. She had so much potential, so many ideas, but she was never given the chance to fully realize them. What happened to her? Emma asks softly. She died when I was 16, Alex says, a carefully controlled pain evident in his voice. Car accident. She was coming back from a community college where she'd secretly enrolled in business courses. My father had discouraged her hobby, as he called it, but she was determined to educate herself anyway. Emma's heart constricts. I'm so sorry, Alex. He shakes his head slightly, as if clearing away the memories. My point is, I recognize something of her spark in you. That same determination not to be limited by circumstances. I suppose in some way, giving you this opportunity is honoring her memory. The personal revelation touches Emma deeply, casting his interest in her in a new light. Thank you for telling me that, and for the opportunity you've given me. I promise I won't waste it. Alex's expression softens as he looks at her. I know you won't. The car slows as they approach Emma's apartment building, a modest structure that stands in stark contrast to what she imagines must be Alex's luxurious accommodations. To his credit, he shows no reaction to the worn facade or the group of teenagers hanging out on the stoop. Thank you for the ride, Emma says as the car stops, and for including me tonight. The pleasure was mine, Alex replies. Then with slight hesitation that seems uncharacteristic, he adds, Emma, would you be interested in continuing this conversation sometime? Perhaps over dinner, just the two of us? Emma freezes, her hand on the door handle. You mean, like a date? Alex meets her gaze directly. Yes, like a date. Warning bells sound in Emma's mind. This is her boss, her CEO, asking her out romantically. Every instinct for professional self-preservation tells her to politely decline. But there's something in Alex's eyes, a vulnerability beneath the confident exterior, that makes her heart race with possibilities she's tried so hard not to consider. I'd like that, she hears herself say before caution can override impulse. But are you sure it's appropriate, given our professional relationship? Probably not, Alex admits with a small smile. But I've found that the most meaningful connections rarely arrive at convenient or appropriate moments. We can be discreet, of course. Let me think about it, Emma requests, suddenly overwhelmed by the implications. Of course, Alex nods, showing no sign of disappointment at her hesitation. Take all the time you need. As Emma makes her way up to her apartment, her mind spins with conflicting emotions. Excitement, anxiety, disbelief, and underneath it all, a persistent question. What does Alexander Westfield really see when he looks at her? A surrogate for his lost mother? A pawn in his corporate revolution? Or something else entirely? Jade is waiting up, eager for details about the executive dinner. But when she sees Emma's flushed face and distracted manner, her expression turns knowing. Oh, she says. Something happened with Mr. CEO, didn't it? Emma sinks onto the couch, hands cradling her belly as the baby shifts restlessly within her, as if sensing her emotional turmoil. He asked me out, she whispers, on an actual date. Holy shit, Jade breathes. What did you say? Emma looks up, torn between exhilaration and fear. I said I'd think about it, but Jade, I think I'm going to say yes. Emma spends 3 days wrestling with Alex's invitation. By day, she throws herself into her work, demonstrating her marketing expertise with such enthusiasm that even the most skeptical team members are won over. By night, she paces her small apartment, debating the wisdom of dating her CEO with an increasingly exasperated Jade. For the 100th time, just go, Jade says on Sunday evening, watching Emma rearrange the same stack of baby books for the 5th time. You're driving yourself and me completely crazy. But the power dynamics are complicated, yes. We've established that, Jade interrupts. But you like him. He clearly likes you. And it's just dinner, not a marriage proposal. Emma sinks onto the couch, one hand automatically finding her bump. What if it affects my job? What if people think I'm only there because I'm sleeping with the boss? Some probably already think that, Jade points out pragmatically. Office gossip doesn't wait for facts. At least this way, you get a nice dinner out of it. Emma laughs despite herself. Your moral compass is questionable. My moral compass is practical, Jade corrects. Besides, when was the last time someone looked at you the way you described him looking at you? Tyler certainly never did. The mention of her ex-boyfriend sobers Emma. That's part of what scares me. Why would someone like Alexander Westfield be interested in someone like me? A pregnant woman with no connections, no wealth, nothing to offer but marketing ideas that any number of qualified people could provide. Maybe because you're smart, determined, and genuinely passionate about your work, Jade suggests. Also, you're gorgeous even if you refuse to see it. I'm 6 months pregnant. And some men find pregnant women incredibly beautiful. It's primal or something. Jade grabs Emma's phone from the coffee table and holds it out. Text him. Say yes. The worst that happens is you have an awkward dinner and learn he's actually a jerk, which would be useful information regardless. Emma stares at the phone, then takes it with a resigned sigh. Fine. But if this implodes spectacularly, I'm blaming you. I accept full responsibility, Jade says solemnly. Now text the hot CEO before you change your mind again. Monday morning finds Emma in her office earlier than usual, nervously reviewing presentation materials for the day's meeting. She'd sent Alex a message last night. I'd like to have dinner with you. When were you thinking? And received a prompt reply. How about Friday at 8? I'll send a car. Looking forward to it. Their brief exchange has left her both excited and terrified. What does one wear on a date with a billionaire CEO? What will they talk about outside the office? What are his expectations? A knock at her door interrupts her spiraling thoughts. Alex stands in the doorway, as impeccably dressed as always, but with an almost boyish hesitancy in his expression. Good morning, he says. I hope I'm not interrupting. Not at all, Emma replies, hoping her nervousness isn't evident. Just prepping for the Meridian presentation. Alex steps into her office, closing the door partway. I wanted to thank you for your message last night. I'm looking forward to Friday. Me too, Emma says, surprising herself with her sincerity. I thought we might go to Terrazza, he continues. It's a bit out of the way, which might provide some discretion, unless you had something else in mind. Emma has heard of Terrazza, an exclusive Italian restaurant overlooking the river where reservations are typically booked months in advance. That sounds lovely, Alex smiles, a genuine warmth reaching his eyes. Excellent. I'll make the arrangements. He hesitates, then adds, Emma, I want you to know that whatever happens between us personally, your position here is secure. Your work stands on its own merits. The assurance both relieves and unsettles her. While she appreciates his awareness of the power dynamics, the fact that they need acknowledging at all underscores the complicated territory they're entering. Thank you, she says simply. Alex nods, seeming to understand all she hasn't said. Well, I should let you get back to your preparation. I'll see you at the meeting. As he leaves, Emma exhales slowly, trying to calm her racing heart. This is really happening. She's going on a date with Alexander Westfield. The week passes in a blur of presentations and project deadlines. The Meridian pitch goes exceptionally well, with Emma's insights drawing specific praise from the potential client's representatives. Vivian pulls her aside afterward with a genuinely impressed smile. That was excellent work, she says. You've got solid instincts for what resonates with clients. Thank you, Emma replies, flushed with success. It feels good to contribute meaningfully. Vivian's expression turns more measured. I've noticed you and Alex seem close. The dynamic between you at meetings hasn't gone unnoticed. Emma tenses. Is there a problem with my work? Not at all, Vivian assures her. Your work is exemplary. I'm just... She pauses, choosing her words carefully. I care about the well-being of my team members, Emma. Office relationships can be... complicated. We're colleagues, Emma says, not quite a lie, but far from the full truth. Vivian gives her a knowing look but doesn't press. Just be careful. Alex is a good man, but his position comes with complexities that extend beyond the workplace. Before Emma can respond, they're interrupted by other team members wanting to celebrate the successful presentation. The moment passes, but Vivian's warning lingers. Friday evening arrives with a mixture of anticipation and anxiety that has Emma changing outfits 3 times before settling on a deep burgundy maternity dress that manages to be both elegant and comfortable. She's applied her makeup with more care than usual and even managed to style her hair in soft waves that frame her face. You look incredible, Jade assures her, like a hot mama CEO yourself. A text alerts Emma that her car has arrived. With a deep breath and a final glance in the mirror, she heads downstairs, where a sleek black car waits at the curb. The driver opens the door and, to her surprise, Alex himself sits inside. I hope you don't mind, he says as she slides in beside him. I thought I'd accompany you to the restaurant. Up close, he looks even more handsome than usual, his usual corporate attire replaced by a more casual but equally expensive-looking jacket and shirt with no tie. The effect is both more relaxed and somehow more intimate. Not at all, Emma replies, suddenly very aware of the confined space they're sharing. Though I thought CEOs were supposed to be too busy for pickup duty. Alex smiles, his eyes crinkling at the corners. I make exceptions for special occasions. The drive to Terrazza passes with surprisingly easy conversation. Away from the office, Alex seems more relaxed, asking about her hometown and sharing stories about his college years. Emma finds herself laughing at his self-deprecating account of a disastrous business school presentation. You? She says incredulously. I can't imagine you being anything but poised. Oh, I was a disaster, he assures her. Spilled coffee on my notes, forgot half my talking points, called my professor by the wrong name. He gave me a C out of pity. How did you go from that to CEO of a multinational corporation? Determination. Practice. His expression grows more thoughtful. And having something to prove, I suppose. Terrazza is even more impressive than Emma had imagined. Situated on the top floor of a historic building, its glass walls offer panoramic views of the river and city skyline. The maitre d' greets Alex by name and leads them to a secluded table with a spectacular view. This is amazing, Emma breathes, taking in the elegant space and twinkling city lights below. I'm glad you like it, Alex replies, his expression softening as he watches her reaction. Throughout dinner, Emma is struck by how attentive Alex is, asking thoughtful questions, listening intently to her answers, remembering small details she's mentioned in passing during work conversations. It's a stark contrast to her relationship with Tyler, who had often seemed only half present during their dates, more interested in his phone than her thoughts. Tell me about your family, Alex says as they linger over dessert. You've mentioned your mother sent her credit card for work clothes. You must be close. Emma nods, warming to the subject. We are. My parents have always been incredibly supportive, even when they didn't quite understand my choices. My dad wanted me to get a practical degree like nursing or accounting, but once he saw I was serious about marketing, he became my biggest champion. She smiles at the memory. They were shocked about the pregnancy, of course, but never judgmental, just worried about how I'd manage. And with good reason, Alex observes. Being a single parent while building a career is challenging. It is, Emma acknowledges, but I've never wanted easy, just meaningful. Something shifts in Alex's expression, a deepening of interest, perhaps even admiration. That's a rare perspective. What about your family? Emma asks. You've mentioned your mother and your complicated relationship with your father, but do you have siblings? A shadow crosses Alex's face. No siblings. After my mother died, my father became even more focused on grooming me as his successor. Our relationship is functional at best. We speak when necessary for business matters, but rarely about personal things. That sounds lonely, Emma says softly. Alex's gaze meets hers. It is, sometimes. But I've built my own support network over the years, friends, mentors, colleagues who've become like family. As the evening progresses, Emma feels the invisible wall between CEO and employee gradually dissolving, replaced by a genuine connection that both thrills and terrifies her. By the time they leave the restaurant, the professional distance that once seemed so important has all but disappeared. In the car heading back to her apartment, Emma finds herself sitting closer to Alex than strictly necessary, drawn to his warmth and the subtle cologne that's been teasing her senses all evening. I had a wonderful time, she says, meaning it more than she'd expected to. So did I, Alex replies, his voice low and intimate in the darkened car. His hand finds hers, fingers intertwining with gentle pressure. Emma, I want to see you again, not at the office. Like this. The simple touch of his hand sends electricity coursing through her. I'd like that too, she admits. When they reach her building, Alex walks her to the door, maintaining a respectful distance that nonetheless crackles with unspoken tension. Thank you for tonight, Emma says, suddenly shy as they reach her door. The pleasure was mine, Alex replies. He steps closer, his gaze dropping briefly to her lips before returning to her eyes, silently asking permission. Emma knows she should be cautious, should consider all the complications this could create. Instead, she finds herself leaning toward him, drawn by something more powerful than logic or professional boundaries. His kiss is gentle at first, a soft exploration that quickly deepens as Emma responds. His hand cups her face with surprising tenderness, and she finds herself melting into the contact, weeks of denied attraction finally finding expression. When they part, both slightly breathless, Alex rests his forehead against hers for a moment. I've been wanting to do that since you stood up to Benjamin in that interview room, he confesses. Emma laughs softly. That long? That long, he confirms, reluctantly stepping back. I should go, but I'll call you tomorrow? Emma nods, not trusting her voice. She watches as he returns to the waiting car, only entering her building when the vehicle pulls away from the curb. Inside, she leans against her closed door, touching her fingers to lips that still tingle from his kiss. Jade emerges from her bedroom, taking one look at Emma's flushed face and knowing exactly what happened. That good, huh? She says with a grin. Better, Emma admits, which is terrifying. Why terrifying? Because now I have so much more to lose. Monday morning brings reality crashing back as Emma steps off the elevator at Westfield Corporation. She's barely settled at her desk when Margaret from HR appears in her doorway, her expression grim. Ms. Parker, could you come with me, please? There's a matter that requires immediate discussion. Emma's stomach drops. Is something wrong? Margaret's thin smile doesn't reach her eyes. Mr. Westfield Sr. would like to speak with you. He's waiting in the conference room. Mr. Westfield Sr.? Alex's father. Emma rises on suddenly shaky legs, one hand automatically going to her belly as if to protect her child from whatever storm is brewing. As she follows Margaret down the hallway, her mind races. How did he find out about their date so quickly? And more importantly, what does he want from her? Whatever it is, Emma doubts it's going to be pleasant. The conference room door looms before Emma like the entrance to a lion's den. Margaret knocks once, then opens it with deferential efficiency. "Ms. Parker is here, Mr. Westfield," she announces before stepping aside to usher Emma in. The man seated at the head of the conference table bears an unmistakable resemblance to Alex, the same strong jawline, the same imposing height, evident even as he remains seated. But where Alex's eyes hold warmth and curiosity, Gerald Westfield's gaze is cold and evaluating, assessing Emma as one might appraise merchandise. "Ms. Parker, please, sit." His voice carries the polished authority of someone accustomed to immediate obedience. Emma forces herself to walk steadily to the chair he indicates, directly across from him. Margaret slips out, closing the door with a soft click that sounds ominously final. "Thank you for meeting with me," she says, determined to maintain her composure despite the anxiety churning in her stomach. Gerald Westfield doesn't bother with pleasantries. "You've created quite a stir in your short time here. A pregnant junior employee with no significant industry experience, suddenly placed in an executive track position and given access to high-level meetings." His tone makes the achievements sound like accusations. One might wonder how such an unusual situation came about. Emma meets his gaze directly. "I believe Mr. Westfield, Alex, saw potential in my marketing background and fresh perspective." "My son sees many things," Gerald replies, his mouth twisting slightly. "Not all of them real." He slides a folder across the table. "Your employment history, your financial situation, your personal circumstances." Emma's blood runs cold as she glances at the open folder, seeing her rental application, credit report, and even medical billing information from her obstetrician visits. "How did you get these? This is private information." "Privacy is a relative concept, Ms. Parker, especially when family interests are at stake." Gerald leans forward. "Let me be direct. My son has a history of, shall we say, championing underdogs. It's a sentimental weakness that has occasionally been exploited by opportunistic individuals. The implication hangs in the air, unmistakable and insulting. Emma's initial fear transforms into indignation. "Are you suggesting I'm manipulating your son in some way?" she asks, her voice steady despite the anger building inside her. "I'm suggesting that a sudden personal relationship between a CEO and a pregnant employee he fast-tracked through normal hiring protocols raises questions about motivations, on both sides." Gerald's gaze drops pointedly to her belly, particularly when said employee is in a financially vulnerable position and expecting a child. Emma places one protective hand over her bump, drawing strength from the baby's presence. "Mr. Westfield, I understand your concern for your son and the company, but I assure you, I have never sought anything beyond the professional opportunity I was offered." "And yet you were seen kissing my son outside your apartment building Friday night," Gerald counters, producing a grainy photograph that makes Emma's heart sink. "After an intimate dinner at one of the city's most exclusive restaurants. The invasion of privacy, the fact that they were followed and photographed, leaves Emma momentarily speechless. Gerald takes her silence as admission. "I'll be blunt, Ms. Parker. You seem like an intelligent young woman who's found herself in difficult circumstances. I respect resourcefulness." He pulls out a checkbook from his inner jacket pocket. "So let me propose a solution that benefits everyone. You'll resign from Westfield, citing personal reasons. You'll agree to end all contact with my son. In exchange..." He writes on the check with practiced ease, tears it out, and places it on the table between them. Emma looks down at a sum that would solve all her immediate financial worries, and then some. "That should cover your living expenses through your maternity leave and provide a comfortable cushion afterward," Gerald continues. "I can also arrange interviews with several of my associates at smaller firms where your actual qualifications would be appropriate. You'd be provided excellent references." Emma stares at the check, a maelstrom of emotions whirling through her. The amount represents security for her and her baby. No more worrying about medical bills or rent, no more stretching every dollar. For a brief, wavering moment, she considers what accepting would mean. Then she thinks of Alex, his integrity, his vulnerability when he spoke of his mother, the genuine respect he's shown for her abilities, the way he looked at her as if she were remarkable. Taking this money would confirm everything his father believes about her. With steady hands, Emma slides the check back across the table. "No, thank you." Gerald's eyebrows rise slightly, perhaps the first genuine surprise he's experienced in this conversation. "I don't think you understand the position you're in, Ms. Parker. If you refuse my offer, your situation here will become untenable." "Are you threatening me, Mr. Westfield?" Emma asks quietly. "I'm explaining reality," he corrects. "Office romances are complicated enough without involving a pregnant junior employee and the CEO. Add a difficult family dynamic and it becomes impossible. Alexander's position requires certain standards, associations that enhance rather than detract from the company image." "Like Victoria Caldwell?" Emma can't help asking. Gerald's eyes narrow. "Victoria comes from a family that has been connected to Westfields for generations. She understands the responsibilities and expectations that come with a position like Alexander's. But does she make him happy?" The question slips out before Emma can reconsider, and she immediately regrets its personal nature. Gerald studies her with new intensity. "Happiness is a luxury afforded to those who have fulfilled their obligations, something my son has yet to fully understand." He slides the check toward her again. "My offer stands until the end of the day. I suggest you consider it carefully, for everyone's sake." The conference room door opens abruptly, and Alex stands in the doorway, his expression thunderous. His gaze takes in the scene, his father, Emma, the check on the table, and understanding dawns immediately. "What the hell is this?" he demands, striding into the room. Gerald sighs, as if dealing with a petulant child. "A necessary intervention, Alexander. One you'll thank me for eventually." Alex turns to Emma, his anger softening into concern. "Are you all right?" She nods, finding her voice. "I'm fine." "Could you give us a moment, please?" Alex asks, his tone gentle with her but tension evident in every line of his body. "Vivian is in her office if you'd like to wait there." Emma rises, relieved to escape the stifling atmosphere. As she passes Alex, his hand briefly touches hers, a small gesture of reassurance that doesn't go unnoticed by his father, whose expression darkens further. In the hallway, Emma draws a shaky breath, the confrontation's adrenaline leaving her suddenly lightheaded. She makes her way to Vivian's office, grateful to find her mentor alone and available. "Emma, what's wrong? You're pale as a ghost," Vivian exclaims, rising from her desk. "I just had a meeting with Gerald Westfield," Emma explains, sinking into a chair. "He offered me money to resign and stay away from Alex." Vivian's eyes widen. "Oh, hell, Alex found out, didn't he?" Emma nods. "They're in the conference room now. It's not a pleasant conversation." "I imagine not," Vivian says wryly. She pushes a bottle of water toward Emma. "Drink this, and don't worry too much about Gerald. His influence here isn't what it once was." "He had my medical records, Vivian, my rental application. He had someone follow us and take pictures." Emma's voice shakes slightly. "How am I supposed to not worry about that?" Vivian's expression turns grim. "That's crossing several lines. Alex won't let that stand." She pauses. "So, you and Alex. It's true then? It's not just professional?" Emma hesitates, then nods. "It's new. Just starting, really. But yes, there's something there." She looks at Vivian imploringly. "I never pursued him for career advancement. You have to believe that." "I do," Vivian assures her. "I've watched you work. You're the real deal, Emma. But this situation is complicated." "That seems to be the word of the day," Emma says with a humorless laugh. Vivian leans forward, her expression serious. "Gerald Westfield is old school in the worst ways. He believes in lineage, connections, appropriate matches. His vision for Alex's future has always included someone like Victoria, polished, well-connected, from the right family. Someone exactly unlike me, Emma concludes. Yes, Vivian admits, but Alex has been fighting his father's vision since he took over as CEO. This isn't just about you, Emma. It's about a fundamental disagreement over what this company is and should be. Before their conversation can continue, Alex appears at the office door, his expression controlled but eyes still smoldering with anger. Vivian, could I have a moment with Emma, please? Vivian rises, giving Emma's shoulder a supportive squeeze before leaving them alone. Alex closes the door and joins Emma, taking the chair Vivian vacated. I'm so sorry, he begins. What my father did was inexcusable. It's not your fault, Emma says automatically. In a way, it is. I should have anticipated this. My father rarely accepts defeat gracefully, and he views my vision for Westfield as a personal rejection. Alex runs a hand through his hair, a rare display of frustration. The photos, the invasion of your privacy. I've made it clear that if anything like that happens again, I'll take legal action against him, father or not. The vehemence in his tone surprises Emma. What about the company? Won't this create problems for you with the board? Let me worry about the board, Alex says firmly. You turned down his check. It's not quite a question, but Emma can hear the relief in his voice. Of course I did, she replies. I don't want his money, I want... She stops, suddenly unsure how to articulate what she does want. A relationship with a complicated man who happens to be her boss? A career based on her own merits? Security for her child? All of it seems hopelessly entangled now. Alex reaches for her hand, holding it between both of his. I know this isn't what you signed up for. If you want to step back, I'll understand. Is that what you want? Emma asks, searching his face. No, he answers without hesitation. But I don't want you caught in the crossfire of my family drama either. My father won't stop easily. You saw that today. Emma considers this, weighing the complications against the connection she feels with Alex, a connection that seems increasingly worth fighting for. I'm not easily intimidated, she says finally. Not by your father, not by office gossip, not by complications. But we need to be smarter about this. Clearer boundaries, more transparency. Relief washes over Alex's features. Agreed. Starting now, we disclose our relationship to HR. Everything by the book. I'll recuse myself from decisions directly affecting your position, and Vivian will handle your performance reviews and promotion considerations. Emma nods, appreciating his quick understanding. And personally? We take it slow. Get to know each other properly. Absolutely, Alex agrees, though the warmth in his eyes suggests he's already certain about his feelings. A knock at the door interrupts them. Benjamin from the interview committee stands there, his expression sour. Sorry to intrude, he says, not sounding sorry at all. But there's a situation with the Meridian account that needs immediate attention. Their CEO is on the line, demanding to speak with someone in charge. Alex rises. I'll take it in my office. He turns back to Emma. We'll continue this conversation later? She nods, and he leaves with Benjamin, already shifting into CEO mode to handle the crisis. Alone in Vivian's office, Emma exhales shakily. In a single morning, her professional and personal worlds have collided in ways she never anticipated. Gerald Westfield's hostility, the invasion of her privacy, the public exposure of her relationship with Alex. All of it creates a vulnerability she hadn't prepared for. Yet alongside the anxiety is a surprising certainty. This connection with Alex feels worth protecting, worth fighting for. She places her hand on her belly, feeling the reassuring movement of her baby. We're going to be okay, she whispers. Whatever comes next, we'll handle it. As she returns to her office, Emma becomes acutely aware of the glances and whispers that follow her. News travels fast in corporate environments, and it seems the confrontation with Gerald Westfield has already become office gossip. Some looks are curious, others speculative, and a few outright hostile. Among the latter is Margaret from HR, whose pinched expression speaks volumes as Emma passes her in the hallway. "Ms. Parker," she says stiffly, "I'll need to see you before the end of day to update some paperwork, given the changes in your circumstance." The emphasis makes it clear that Margaret disapproves, likely aligning with Gerald Westfield's old guard mentality. Emma straightens her shoulders. "Of course," she replies evenly. "Just let me know when." By the time Emma reaches her office, her phone is buzzing with a text from Jade. "SOS. People from some tabloid are outside our building asking questions about you and the Westfield heir." What the hell is happening? Emma stares at the message in disbelief. Somehow the story has already leaked to the media, which means that Gerald Westfield's intervention was merely the opening move in what promises to be a much larger battle. With trembling fingers, she texts back, "Don't talk to them. I'll explain everything tonight. Lock the door." As she sinks into her chair, Emma realizes that dating Alexander Westfield will mean far more than navigating office politics. It means stepping into a spotlight she never sought and facing scrutiny she never imagined. The question now is whether what they're building together is strong enough to withstand it. Westfield, heir's pregnant girlfriend, gold digger, or true love? The headline screams from the tablet Jade holds up as Emma enters their apartment that evening. 3 paparazzi had followed her from the car to the building entrance, shouting questions about Alex and her condition. "They're calling you a secretarial seductress," Jade reports, scrolling through the article with morbid fascination. "And this one says you're carrying the Westfield heir's love child, which is impressive considering you've known him for what, 3 weeks?" Emma drops her bag and sinks onto the couch, emotionally drained. "This is insane. How did this even happen?" "Rich people drama always makes news," Jade says pragmatically, "and CEO knocks up secretary is like catnip to tabloids, even if it's completely untrue." "I'm not a secretary, and it's not Alex's baby," Emma groans. Not that facts seem to matter. Her phone buzzes with another text from Alex, the 10th since the story broke that afternoon. "Are you home safe? Security team is stationed outside your building. Call me when you can." After Gerald Westfield's confrontation that morning, everything had spiraled rapidly. By lunchtime, office whispers had become a roar. By mid-afternoon, HR had called an emergency meeting with Alex and Emma to formalize disclosures about their relationship. By 4 o'clock, the first online tabloid had published the story, complete with the grainy photo of their kiss and speculation about Emma's pregnancy. "Your boyfriend sent bodyguards?" Jade asks, peeking through the curtains at the discreet black SUV now parked across the street. "He's not," Emma begins automatically, then stops herself. It's complicated. She takes out her phone and calls Alex. He answers on the first ring. "Emma, thank God. Are you all right?" "Physically fine, emotionally mortified," she answers honestly. "There are photographers outside my building, Alex. And the headlines." "I know," he says, his voice tight with restrained anger. "My legal team is already addressing the most egregious falsehoods. The security detail will remain in place as long as necessary." "How did this happen so quickly?" A heavy pause. "My father," Alex says finally. "Not directly. He's too clever for that. But one of his longtime assistants was seen meeting with a reporter from the Daily Eye an hour before the story broke. The confirmation of Gerald Westfield's involvement doesn't surprise Emma, but it still stings. Why does he hate me so much? He doesn't even know me." "It's not about you," Alex explains gently. "It's about control. My father built Westfield Corporation through sheer force of will. He sees my changes to the company as rejection, and you as symbolic of everything he disagrees with, both in business and personally." Emma considers this, understanding dawning. "I'm just collateral damage in your family power struggle." "I'm so sorry," Alex says, genuine regret in his voice. "This isn't fair to you." Emma reaches a decision. "I want to meet him properly." "My father? After what he did today?" "Yes," Emma confirms. If I'm going to be painted as a scheming gold digger, I at least want the chance to look him in the eye and defend myself directly. Emma, that's not necessary. It is to me, she interrupts firmly. I need him to see me as a person, not just a symbol or an obstacle. Can you arrange it? Alex's hesitation is palpable even through the phone. If that's what you want, yes, but not alone. I'll be there. Thank you. Emma softens her tone. And Alex? I'm not running away. Not from this, not from us. Just so you know. I don't deserve you, he says quietly. After they hang up, Jade gives Emma a searching look. You're really going all in on this, huh? I guess I am, Emma admits, surprising herself with the certainty she feels despite the chaos. Because you love him? Jade asks pointedly. The question catches Emma off guard. Does she love Alex? Their relationship is so new, yet the connection feels profound in ways she can't fully articulate. I don't know yet, she answers honestly, but there's something real here, something worth fighting for. Well, Jade says, handing her a pint of ice cream and a spoon, if you're going to war with a billionaire patriarch, you'll need provisions. The next morning, Emma faces a gauntlet of curious stares as she enters Westfield Corporation. Security escorts her directly to her office, where she finds Vivian waiting with a sympathetic expression and a steaming cup of herbal tea. Ginger tea, Vivian explains, good for morning sickness and corporate scandals. Despite everything, Emma smiles. Is it that bad? The official company stance is no comment on the personal lives of employees, Vivian reports. But unofficially, the place is buzzing. Half the staff thinks you're a cunning vixen who seduced the CEO. The other half thinks you're the victim of a calculating boss who took advantage of a vulnerable employee. And what do you think? Emma asks, sipping the tea gratefully. I think you're two adults who connected under complicated circumstances, and it's nobody's business but yours. Vivian leans forward. But as your friend and mentor, I need to make sure you're okay with all this. The scrutiny is only going to increase. Emma sighs. I didn't ask for any of this attention, but I also won't hide as if I've done something wrong. Alex and I have followed proper protocols, disclosed the relationship to HR. True, but perception matters in corporate environments, Vivian points out. Some people will never believe your professional accomplishments aren't connected to your personal relationship, no matter how transparent you are. Then I'll just have to prove them wrong with results they can't dismiss, Emma says with determination. Vivian smiles approvingly. That's the spirit. Now, the Meridian campaign presentation to the board is still scheduled for tomorrow. Are you up for it, or would you prefer I take the lead? I'll do it, Emma says without hesitation. I need to show I'm not distracted or intimidated. The day passes in a blur of work and whispers. Emma focuses on her responsibilities with laser precision, determined to demonstrate her professional value. Her team members exhibit varying degrees of awkwardness around her, some overly formal, others pretending nothing has changed, a few openly curious. By mid-afternoon, Alex texts her, "Dinner at my place tonight? More private than a restaurant? Security will pick you up at 7. Emma accepts, both nervous and excited about seeing where Alex lives. At 7 precisely, a sleek black car collects her from her building, bypassing the few persistent photographers still lingering outside. 30 minutes later, they pull through a discreet security gate into a private driveway. Alex's home is not the ostentatious mansion Emma had half expected, but a modern architectural marvel of glass, steel, and warm wood, nestled against a hillside overlooking the city. Alex greets her at the door himself, more casually dressed than she's ever seen him, in jeans and a simple Henley that somehow makes him even more attractive. "Welcome," he says, drawing her inside with a gentle hand at her back. "I thought you might prefer this to running the restaurant gauntlet tonight." "Definitely," Emma agrees, taking in the soaring ceilings and breathtaking views. Your home is beautiful. Thank you. It's the first place that's felt truly mine. He leads her through to an open kitchen where ingredients are already prepped on the counter. I hope you don't mind, but I thought I'd cook for us tonight, unless you're starving now. Emma raises her eyebrows, pleasantly surprised. You cook? Don't sound so shocked, Alex laughs. I find it relaxing. One of the few activities where I can fully disconnect from work. As he moves around the kitchen with obvious comfort, preparing a simple but elegant pasta dish, Emma perches on a stool at the island counter, sipping the sparkling water he's provided. No household staff hovering around? She asks, only half joking. Not tonight, Alex replies. I do have a housekeeper who comes 3 times a week and a groundskeeper for the property, but I've never been comfortable with the idea of live-in staff. I value my privacy. Says the man whose romantic life is currently splashed across tabloid headlines. Emma teases gently. Alex grimaces. Fair point. He pauses his cooking to pour himself a glass of wine, raising it slightly. To unexpected complications. To facing them head-on, Emma counters, tapping her water glass against his. As they eat dinner in his stylish dining room, Emma finds herself relaxing despite the tumultuous day. Something about being in Alex's space, away from prying eyes and office politics, allows them to simply be themselves. I arranged the meeting with my father, Alex says as they finish their meal. Sunday brunch at his home. I thought the more neutral territory might help compared to the office. Emma nods. Thank you. I know you think it's unnecessary. I understand why it matters to you, Alex interrupts. And I respect your desire to advocate for yourself. It's one of the qualities I admire most about you. The sincerity in his voice warms Emma from within. Tell me about growing up as Alexander Westfield Jr., she prompts, wanting to understand more about what shaped him. Alex leans back in his chair, swirling the last of his wine. It was complicated. Privileged in material ways, certainly, but emotionally rather austere after my mother died. A shadow crosses his face. My father retreated into work and I was mostly raised by a series of nannies and housekeepers. Sent to boarding school at 12, expected to excel in everything without complaint. That sounds lonely, Emma observes softly. It was, Alex acknowledges, but it also taught me to be self-reliant and to value genuine connections when I found them. His gaze meets hers with meaningful intensity. Connections that aren't based on my name or position. After dinner, they move to his living room, where floor-to-ceiling windows frame the glittering city below. Emma finds herself drawn to the view, one hand absently cradling her belly as the baby shifts within her. May I? Alex asks, gesturing toward her bump. The request surprises Emma, but she nods. Gently, he places his hand where hers had been, his expression transforming with wonder when the baby kicks against his palm. That's incredible, he murmurs. The intimacy of the moment catches Emma off guard, tears unexpectedly springing to her eyes. Tyler had never once asked to feel the baby move, had barely acknowledged the pregnancy except as an inconvenience to be eliminated. Alex notices her reaction immediately. I'm sorry, was that too forward? No, Emma assures him, blinking back tears. It's just nice to have someone else be excited about the baby. With natural ease, Alex draws her into his arms, holding her close. Anyone who isn't excited about your child is a fool, he says against her hair. Emma relaxes into his embrace, feeling safer and more understood than she has in months. When Alex's lips find hers, the kiss is both tender and intense, communicating feelings that words haven't yet captured. Later, as they sit together on his comfortable couch, Emma curled against his side, he asks the question she's been dreading. The baby's father, is he completely out of the picture? Emma tenses slightly but decides that complete honesty is necessary. Yes, Tyler made it clear he wanted nothing to do with the pregnancy. He actually suggested I take care of it, and when I refused, he left. Alex's arm tightens around her protectively. His loss, he says with quiet conviction. And if I may be blunt, your child is better off without someone that selfish in their life. I know, Emma agrees. But sometimes I worry about doing this alone. Being both mother and father, provider and nurturer. Alex shifts to look at her directly. You don't have to do it alone, Emma. The implication hangs in the air between them, simultaneously thrilling and terrifying. It's too soon for such suggestions, and yet Emma can't deny the rightness she feels in this moment, with this man. One day at a time, she says finally. We're still getting to know each other. Of course, Alex agrees. No pressure, just know that I'm here for whatever you need, whenever you need it. When security drives her home that night, Emma's mind is swirling with possibilities she'd never imagined for herself. Could Alex truly become part of her life, her child's life? Is she ready for all that would entail? As the car approaches her building, the driver suddenly curses under his breath. Ms. Parker, we have a situation. There's a crowd of reporters waiting. Sure enough, at least a dozen photographers and reporters are gathered on the sidewalk, camera lights already flashing as they spot the approaching vehicle. How did they know I'd be coming home now? Emma asks, dismayed. Someone must have tipped them off, the security guard responds grimly. Do you want me to try another entrance? Emma considers this, then straightens her shoulders. No, let's get this over with. As she steps from the car, the barrage begins. Flashbulbs pop, voices call out overlapping questions. Emma, is it true you're carrying Alexander Westfield's baby? Did you get pregnant to trap him? Has Gerald Westfield offered you money to leave town? Are you and Victoria Caldwell in a catfight over the CEO? Emma keeps her head high, neither responding nor making eye contact as the security guard clears a path through the crowd. Just as they reach the building entrance, one voice rises above the others. Ms. Parker, Victoria Caldwell has announced her engagement to Alexander Westfield. Do you have any comment? Emma falters mid-step, the words hitting her like a physical blow. The security guard hustles her inside before she can react further, the building door closing on the cacophony of questions. That last question, Emma begins once they're in the elevator. Tabloid garbage, the guard assures her. They say whatever gets a reaction. Mr. Westfield has instructed us not to engage with them at all. But as the elevator doors open to her floor, Emma can't shake the cold doubt that suddenly lodged in her chest. Would Alex tell her if he were still involved with Victoria? Or was Gerald Westfield right about her being just a temporary distraction, a rebellion against family expectations? Inside her apartment, Emma immediately checks her phone, finding messages from both Jade and Alex. From Jade. Don't freak out, but there's a BS story about Victoria Caldwell announcing engagement to your man. Total fake news. Call me. From Alex. Just heard about the Victoria rumor. Completely fabricated. She's actually in Milan. Please don't worry. I've asked PR to issue a denial. Call me when you're home safe. Relief washes through Emma, followed quickly by anger at how easily outside forces can intrude on their growing relationship. As she calls Alex to reassure him she's okay, one thing becomes increasingly clear. Tomorrow's meeting with Gerald Westfield has become even more essential. If she's going to continue down this path with Alex, she needs to confront the source of these attacks head-on. Not just for herself, but for her child, whose future is becoming increasingly entangled with the Westfield legacy, for better or worse. Sunday morning dawns bright and clear, though Emma has barely slept. She stands before her closet discarding outfit after outfit, nothing seeming right for the confrontation ahead. The navy dress, Jade suggests from the doorway, a mug of tea in each hand. It makes you look strong but not aggressive, professional but still feminine. Emma accepts both the tea and the advice gratefully. I feel like I'm preparing for battle rather than brunch. You kind of are. Jade points out, just with fancy silverware instead of swords. By 10:30, Emma is dressed, her hair styled in soft waves, makeup applied with careful precision, her armor for the day. Alex arrives exactly on time, his sharp intake of breath when she opens the door sending a flutter of confidence through her. "You look beautiful," he says simply. In the car, Alex briefs her on what to expect. "My father's estate is substantial. Try not to let it intimidate you. It's designed for exactly that purpose." "Thanks for the warning," Emma says, trying to quell the butterflies in her stomach. "Any other advice?" "Be yourself," Alex says, taking her hand. "That's who I—" He stops abruptly, then continues more carefully. "That's who impressed me from the beginning." The almost confession hangs between them, both acknowledging the weight of what he nearly said. It's too soon for declarations of love, yet Emma feels the words hovering on her own lips as well, held back only by caution. Her first glimpse of the Westfield estate leaves Emma momentarily speechless. Substantial is an understatement. The sprawling Georgian-style mansion sits on manicured grounds that seem to stretch endlessly, a private lake glimmering in the distance. It's not just a home, it's a statement of dynastic wealth and power. "Your childhood home?" Emma asks, trying to imagine Alex as a boy in such formal surroundings. "One of them," he confirms. "We also had houses in the Hamptons, Aspen, and Paris. My father believes in maintaining a presence in strategic locations." The butler who greets them at the door is so perfectly starched and formal that Emma half expects him to announce them with titles. Instead, he escorts them silently through marble hallways adorned with museum-quality art to a sun-drenched conservatory where Gerald Westfield awaits. Unlike at their previous meeting, today Gerald stands as they enter, impeccably dressed in casual weekend luxury, linen trousers and a cashmere sweater that probably cost more than Emma's monthly rent. His smile doesn't reach his eyes, but his manners are flawless. "Alexander, Ms. Parker, thank you for coming." He gestures to the elegantly set table. "Please sit. Brunch will be served momentarily." As they take their seats, Emma notices a leather portfolio beside Gerald's place setting, a deliberate prop, she suspects, for whatever strategy he's planned. "Your home is beautiful, Mr. Westfield," Emma offers, determined to begin with civility. "Thank you. It's been in the family for 3 generations." His emphasis on family is subtle but unmistakable. "I understand congratulations are in order regarding the Meridian account. Your presentation apparently impressed the board." The acknowledgement of her professional achievement surprises Emma. "Thank you. It was a team effort, of course." "Indeed," Gerald signals, and servers appear with mimosas for himself and Alex and a virgin version for Emma. "Though Alexander tells me your insights were particularly valuable." There's a calculated quality to his politeness that puts Emma on edge. She glances at Alex, who gives her a slight nod of encouragement. "Ms. Parker," Gerald begins. "Emma, please," she interrupts gently. A flicker of annoyance crosses Gerald's face at the correction. "Emma, I believe we got off on the wrong foot at our previous meeting." "That's one way to put it," Alex mutters. Gerald ignores him. "I hope you understand that my concerns come from a place of protection. For my son, for the company, for our family legacy." "Protection from what exactly?" Emma asks. "From me?" "From impulsive decisions with long-term consequences," Gerald clarifies. "Alexander has a tendency to champion causes without fully considering the implications." "I'm not a cause," Emma states firmly. "Perhaps not intentionally," Gerald allows. "But surely you must see how your situation appears from an objective perspective." The first course arrives. Delicate egg soufflés that Emma has no appetite for but forces herself to taste out of politeness. "Why don't you explain your objective perspective to me?" she suggests, maintaining her composure. Gerald dabs his mouth with a linen napkin. "Alexander is 34, unmarried, and now CEO of a company worth billions. You are 22, pregnant with another man's child, and in a financially precarious position. You've known each other less than a month, yet suddenly you have an executive track position and a romantic relationship with him. Objectively speaking, the pattern resembles a certain type of dynamic. "Dad," Alex warns, his voice tight. "It's all right," Emma says to Alex before turning back to Gerald. "Mr. Westfield, I understand how it might look from the outside, but here's my perspective. I never sought anything from your son beyond the job I initially interviewed for. He was the one who recognized my potential and offered me a better position. He was the one who initiated our relationship. At every step, I've been transparent about my circumstances and cautious about my expectations." Gerald listens with calculating attention. And the tabloid attention? The public association with the Westfield name? Are you prepared for what that entails? "No one is fully prepared for that level of scrutiny," Emma acknowledges. "But I'm handling it as gracefully as I can. Not for advantage, but because I care about your son and respect what we're building together, both professionally and personally." Gerald opens the portfolio beside him, removing several glossy magazine pages. "These are from this morning's Society pages. The speculation about your relationship has already affected Westfield's stock price and raised questions among our more conservative board members. Those concerns reflect outdated thinking, not actual impropriety," Alex interjects firmly. "We've followed all proper protocols. Emma's position is based on merit. Our personal relationship is separate from our professional one. Perception matters as much as reality in business, Alexander. You know this." Gerald turns his attention back to Emma. "Tell me, what are your intentions toward my son?" The bluntness of the question momentarily stuns Emma. It's so formal, so 19th century that she almost laughs. But the seriousness in Gerald's eyes stops her. "My intention is to know him better," she answers honestly. "To explore this connection between us without predetermined expectations. And professionally, to continue contributing meaningfully to Westfield's success." "And if I were to offer you a more generous settlement than before? Say, a fully paid condo and a trust fund for your child?" Alex slams his palm on the table, rattling the silverware. "Enough! This ends now." But Emma places a calming hand on Alex's arm. "It's a fair question." She meets Gerald's calculating gaze directly. "Mr. Westfield, no amount of money would induce me to walk away from something or someone I truly value. If that's difficult for you to believe, perhaps it says more about the relationships in your life than it does about mine." A charged silence follows her words. For the first time, Gerald appears genuinely taken aback, as if no one has spoken to him with such direct honesty in years. After a moment, he lets out a short, surprising laugh. "Well, at least you have spine. Victoria would have negotiated the offer up before rejecting it." The comparison to Victoria startles Emma. "I'm not interested in negotiations or games, Mr. Westfield. Just clarity and respect." Gerald studies her with new consideration. "Alexander mentioned you remind him of his mother. I dismissed it as sentimentality, but perhaps he's not entirely wrong." His tone shifts, becoming more reflective. Catherine had that same directness. It was refreshing in the beginning. Emma glances at Alex, seeing a subtle tension in his jaw at the mention of his mother. "Before you demonize me completely," Gerald continues, "consider that I've seen what happens when someone unprepared enters our world. The scrutiny, the expectations, the constant judgment, it destroyed Catherine's peace, her sense of self. By the end, she barely resembled the vibrant woman I'd married." "So you're not protecting the Westfield name," Emma realizes. "You're trying to protect me?" "I'm protecting all parties involved," Gerald corrects, "including your unborn child who would inevitably be drawn into the Westfield orbit by association." The mention of her baby shifts something in Emma. I appreciate the concern, however misplaced. But my child and I don't need protection through exclusion. We need respect and agency to make our own choices. Even if those choices lead to pain? Gerald challenges. Even then, Emma confirms. That's what free will means, Mr. Westfield. Making our own mistakes, not having others dictate our path to shield us from difficulty. Gerald's gaze shifts to his son. You've found yourself a philosopher, Alexander. I've found someone who sees clearly, Alex replies, his expression softening as he looks at Emma. Something I've apparently inherited from you despite our differences. A complex emotion flickers across Gerald's face, something like recognition, perhaps even a grudging respect. We do share that at least. The main course arrives, perfectly prepared lamb with seasonal vegetables. As they eat, the conversation shifts to safer topics. The Meridian campaign, industry trends, even Emma's college experiences. Gerald reveals himself to be extraordinarily well-informed, and when not being deliberately intimidating, capable of insightful observations that clarify where Alex's business acumen originated. By dessert, a delicate lemon souffle, Emma senses a subtle shift in the atmosphere. Not warmth exactly, but a tentative armistice. When Gerald excuses himself briefly to take a call, Alex squeezes her hand under the table. You're amazing, he whispers. I've never seen anyone stand their ground with him like that. I'm just being honest, Emma replies. It's the only strategy I have. It's working. He's actually listening to you. When Gerald returns, he carries 3 crystal glasses and an ancient-looking bottle of cognac. This was bottled the year Westfield Corporation was founded, he explains, pouring a small amount into each glass. A family tradition when important matters are discussed. He pauses before Emma's glass. Perhaps just a symbolic amount for you? Thank you, Emma agrees, touched by the unexpected inclusion in a family ritual. Gerald raises his glass. To clarity and respect, he says, echoing Emma's earlier words with the faintest hint of a smile. After they drink, Emma just wetting her lips with the potent spirit, Gerald sets down his glass with deliberate precision. I won't pretend to be entirely convinced about this relationship, he states frankly, but I will acknowledge that my approach thus far has been counterproductive. That's an understatement, Alex mutters. Gerald silences him with a look. I'm willing to adopt a wait-and-see approach, provided certain conditions are met. Emma tenses. What conditions? Professional boundaries must be maintained impeccably at Westfield. No favoritism, no special treatment. Your advancement must be earned and documented through proper channels. Already being done, Alex confirms. Second, public appearances together should be handled with discretion until a sufficient time has passed to avoid the appearance of impropriety. Emma nods. This seems reasonable enough. And finally, Gerald continues, I expect to be kept informed of significant developments rather than learning about them through gossip or tabloids. Alex studies his father with suspicion. And in return? In return, I will cease my reservations about Ms. Parker's role at Westfield. No more interference, direct or indirect, and I will ensure that my contacts in the media lose interest in this story. You can do that? Emma asks, surprised. Gerald's smile is thin. My dear, I've been managing the Westfield public image since before Alexander was born. There are few media outlets in this city that don't owe me favors. After considering the offer, Alex looks to Emma. Your thoughts? I can live with those conditions, she decides, as long as they're applied in good faith. She turns to Gerald. But I need one condition of my own. Gerald raises an eyebrow. Which is? No more investigations into my personal life. No more photographs. No more accessing my private records. Those boundaries are non-negotiable. For a moment, Gerald appears ready to deny such invasions, but something in Emma's unwavering gaze changes his mind. Agreed. As they prepare to leave, Gerald walks them to the door. When Alex steps ahead to speak with the driver, Gerald detains Emma with a light touch on her arm. "One last thing, Ms. Parker. Off the record." His voice drops so only she can hear. "If your interest in my son is genuinely personal rather than advantageous, remember this. The Westfield men love deeply but guard themselves fiercely. Alexander watched his mother's unhappiness and my subsequent emotional detachment. He'll need more than pretty words to truly let you in." Before Emma can respond, he steps back, his public persona returning like a mask sliding into place. "A pleasure having you both. We should do this again sometime." In the car returning to the city, Emma rests her head on Alex's shoulder, processing the complex encounter. "Do you think he meant it? The truce?" "With my father, nothing is simple," Alex replies. "But yes, I think in his own way he's making an effort. You impressed him, which is no small feat." "He loves you," Emma observes quietly, in his own complicated, controlling way. Alex is silent for a long moment. "Perhaps. But love that comes with conditions and manipulations isn't the kind I want in my life." He turns to look at her, his expression vulnerable in a way she's never seen before. "Or in our lives, if that's something you might want." The tentative question hangs between them, pregnant with possibility. Emma feels a surge of emotion so strong it momentarily robs her of words. Is he suggesting what she thinks he is? A future together, not just as a couple but as a family? Before she can formulate a response, Alex's phone rings, the special tone he's designated for work emergencies. His expression shifts to concern as he answers. "Slow down, Vivian," he says tensely. "What exactly happened?" Emma watches his face darken as he listens. "I'll be right there," he says finally, ending the call and instructing the driver to take them to the Westfield offices immediately. He turns to Emma, grim-faced. "That was Vivian. Someone has hacked our servers and leaked confidential information about the Meridian campaign, all our strategy documents, client communications, everything." "But who would—" Emma begins, then stops as understanding dawns. "Tyler!" Alex nods grimly. "Your ex-boyfriend now works for Meridian's biggest competitor, and according to Vivian, he's claiming you provided him with access codes in exchange for a reconciliation offer." The peaceful glow of their morning shatters, replaced by the cold reality that their challenges are far from over. The Westfield building is eerily quiet for a Sunday, save for the crisis team assembled in the main conference room. Executives and legal counsel are huddled around the table, grim-faced as they assess the damage. Vivian rushes to meet Emma and Alex as they enter, her usual composed demeanor strained. "It's bad," she says without preamble. "All our proprietary strategies for Meridian, competitive analysis, pricing structures, everything's been leaked. Meridian's CEO is furious, threatening to sue for breach of confidentiality." "And Tyler's accusation?" Alex asks, his hand at the small of Emma's back, steadying her. Vivian hesitates, glancing at Emma with concern. "He's been quite public with his claims. Sent emails to the board, Meridian executives, even some media contacts. Says Emma accessed confidential files after hours and forwarded them to his personal email." "That's absurd," Emma says, her voice shaking with a mixture of anger and disbelief. "I would never—" "No one who knows you believes it for a second," Vivian assures her. "But Tyler has provided timestamps showing when files were accessed using your credentials, and given your personal connection to him. It creates reasonable doubt," Alex finishes grimly. Emma's mind races. "My login credentials? But how would he—" She stops as a memory surfaces. "My laptop. When we broke up, my work laptop from Meridian went missing from our apartment. I reported it to IT, but Tyler claimed no knowledge of it." Alex's expression hardens. "So he's had your login information for months?" "Potentially, yes." Emma turns to Vivian. Can't we prove the access came from outside Westfield's network? The IT team is working on that now, Vivian confirms. But corporate espionage cases are notoriously difficult to prove definitively, especially when personal relationships are involved. They enter the conference room where several board members and the legal team are waiting. Emma feels their scrutiny like a physical weight as she takes a seat, conscious that any existing doubts about her relationship with Alex will now be compounded by these accusations. The head of legal security, a stern woman named Janet Cho, leads the briefing. Based on preliminary investigation, someone using Ms. Parker's credentials accessed our servers at 2:17 a.m. last night. 47 confidential documents related to the Meridian campaign were downloaded and subsequently appeared on competitive intelligence forums by 6 a.m. That's impossible, Emma interjects. I was at home all night. My phone and laptop records can confirm that. Unfortunately, the access occurred through a VPN that masks the original location, Janet explains. What we do know is that the login used your specific credentials. Benjamin, Emma's antagonist from her initial interview, leans forward with barely concealed satisfaction. Given Ms. Parker's prior relationship with Tyler Reynolds, who now works for Meridian's competitor, and the hasty nature of her hiring here, we must consider all possibilities. The implication hangs heavy in the air that Emma might have been planted as a corporate spy from the beginning, using her relationship with Alex as cover. Alex rises, his voice controlled but glacial. Let me be absolutely clear. This investigation will proceed based on evidence, not insinuation or personal bias. Ms. Parker's hiring followed all company protocols, and her work has been exemplary. He turns to Janet. What concrete steps are we taking now? Forensic IT analysis for starters, Janet replies. We're also filing for an emergency injunction to prevent further dissemination of the leaked materials. And we've requested Meridian's competitor to preserve all digital evidence related to Mr. Reynolds. Emma sits straighter, rallying her composure. I'd like to volunteer my personal devices for examination. My phone, laptop, home computer, anything that would help establish my innocence. Janet nods approvingly. That would be helpful. We'll also need a detailed statement about your history with Tyler Reynolds and any possible access he might have had to your credentials. As the meeting continues, strategies are outlined, tasks assigned, and a crisis communication plan developed. Throughout it all, Emma feels the subtle undercurrent of suspicion from certain board members, particularly those aligned with Gerald Westfield's old guard mentality. After 2 grueling hours, the meeting adjourns with a temporary action plan in place. As people file out, Alex asks Emma to wait behind. Are you okay? He asks once they're alone, genuine concern in his eyes. Not really, Emma admits, finally allowing her professional mask to slip. Tyler is trying to destroy everything I've built here, and some of your board members seem ready to believe the worst of me. Alex takes her hands in his. I believe in you, completely, and we will get through this. How can you be so sure? Corporate espionage accusations could end my career before it really begins. And even if I'm cleared, the suspicion might always linger. Because I know you, Alex says simply, and because Westfield has resources that Tyler hasn't anticipated. Before he can elaborate, Alex's phone buzzes with a text. He frowns as he reads it. My father wants to see us. Now. Emma's heart sinks. Let me guess. He thinks this proves he was right about me all along? Let's find out, Alex says, his expression unreadable. The drive to Gerald Westfield's office is tense, Emma struggling to process how quickly her world has tilted again. Just hours ago, they were making progress with Gerald, Alex was hinting at a future together, and her career was flourishing. Now she's facing accusations that could destroy everything. Gerald's downtown office is a monument to old-world power. Dark wood, leather-bound books, and strategic photographs of himself with politicians and business titans. He's waiting behind an imposing desk when they arrive, his expression inscrutable. Sit, he instructs without preamble. Once they've complied, he leans forward. I've heard about the Meridian situation. Troubling, to say the least. If you've summoned us here to say, "I told you so," save it, Alex says tersely. Emma is being framed. To Emma's surprise, Gerald nods. I believe she is. You do? Emma can't mask her astonishment. Don't look so shocked, Ms. Parker. I may have questioned your relationship with my son, but corporate espionage is a serious accusation requiring more than personal bias to evaluate. Gerald opens a folder on his desk. This Tyler Reynolds seems like a vindictive sort. His employment history shows he was passed over for promotion 3 times at Meridian, which likely contributed to his move to their competitor 2 months ago. You've already investigated him? Alex asks. Of course I have. Gerald replies as if it were obvious. When I learned of the leak this morning, I had my team pull everything we could find on Reynolds. His financials show recent unusual deposits, and his social media activity suggests a particular fixation on you, Ms. Parker. He turns his computer monitor to show them Tyler's private Instagram account, filled with bitter posts about Emma, Alex, and Westfield Corporation. The most recent, posted just after the leak, reads, "Some people think pregnancy makes them untouchable. Time for a reality check." Emma feels physically ill seeing Tyler's vindictiveness laid bare. He's punishing me for keeping the baby and moving on with my life. Precisely, Gerald agrees. This isn't about corporate intelligence. It's personal revenge dressed up as corporate espionage. Unfortunately, personal motives can be difficult to prove in court. So what are you suggesting? Alex asks, studying his father with newfound interest. Gerald steeples his fingers. A counter-strategy. Reynolds has overplayed his hand by involving Meridian's competitor so directly. No legitimate company wants to be associated with stolen information obtained through such dubious means. It creates tremendous legal exposure for them. You think we can pressure the competitor to disavow Tyler? Emma asks, following his logic. Better than that, Gerald says with the first genuine smile Emma has seen from him. I believe we can get them to provide evidence against him. He outlines his plan, using his long-standing relationships with board members at the competing company to suggest that Tyler has made them unwitting accomplices in his personal vendetta, potentially exposing them to massive liability. Corporate boards hate scandal and legal risk more than they value any competitive advantage, Gerald explains. Particularly advantages gained through methods that could trigger federal investigations. As he elaborates on the strategy, Emma observes the dynamic between father and son with new eyes. Though their values and methods differ dramatically, both men possess the same strategic brilliance and decisive command. For the first time, she can see them as complementary forces rather than opposing ones. Why are you helping me? Emma asks Gerald when he finishes. Yesterday you were trying to buy me off. Gerald considers her question seriously. Several reasons, Ms. Parker. First, practical ones. This attack on you has become an attack on Westfield, which I cannot abide. Second, I dislike being manipulated, and this Reynolds character is attempting to manipulate company politics to his advantage. He pauses. And third, perhaps I've begun to recognize that my son's judgment about you may not be entirely misplaced. It's as close to an approval as Emma expects she'll ever get from him. Thank you, she says simply. Gerald dismisses her gratitude with a wave. Don't thank me yet. The next 48 hours will be challenging. You'll need to make a formal statement to the board tomorrow morning. Be honest, direct, and maintain your composure regardless of provocations. I'll be there with her, Alex states. No, you won't, Gerald counters firmly. You need to maintain appropriate distance during the formal proceedings. Your presence would only fuel perceptions of favorable treatment. Emma nods her agreement. He's right, Alex. I need to stand on my own for this. Alex looks ready to argue but finally concedes the point. Fine, but I won't be far. As they prepare to leave, Gerald addresses Emma once more. Ms. Parker, there's one more thing. Your mother called the office this morning, quite distressed. Apparently reporters have found their way to your hometown. Emma's heart sinks. In all the chaos, she hadn't thought about how the scandal might affect her family. I should call her. I took the liberty of arranging security for your parents' home, Gerald says. And I suggested they might enjoy a spontaneous vacation at our lake house in Vermont until this situation resolves. They're being driven there as we speak. The gesture leaves Emma momentarily speechless. It's paternal and protective in a way she would never have expected from Gerald Westfield. Thank you, she says again, meaning it even more this time. Gerald acknowledges her thanks with a slight nod. Alexander, a word in private before you leave? Alex squeezes Emma's hand. I'll just be a minute. In the outer office, Emma waits, still processing the unexpected alliance with Gerald. Through the partially open door, she catches fragments of their conversation. Not how I would have chosen, Gerald's voice. Never been about your approval, Alex responds. Reminds me of your mother before, not the same situation. Prepared to accept the consequences. When Alex emerges, his expression is complex, part frustration, part resolution, and something else Emma can't quite identify. Everything okay? She asks as they walk to the elevator. My father has decided to be helpful in his own complicated way, Alex says cryptically. Before Emma can press for details, her phone rings. Jade's number. Thank God, Jade says when Emma answers. There are reporters camped outside our building, and some creep claiming to be Tyler's friend tried to get me to let him into our apartment to pick up some old stuff. I'm freaking out here. Don't open the door for anyone, Emma instructs. I'm sending security right away. She looks to Alex, who's already texting his security team. You can't go back to your apartment, he says after ending the call. Neither can Jade. It's not safe right now. Where are we supposed to go? Emma asks, suddenly feeling exhausted by the constant barrage of crises. Jade can stay at one of the company's executive apartments. As for you... Alex hesitates. Stay with me, at least until this is resolved. The offer is both practical and deeply personal. Emma weighs it carefully, aware of how it might appear to others if she moves in with Alex during this investigation. People will talk, she points out. It could complicate the board's perception. Let them talk, Alex says firmly. Your safety and well-being matter more than perception right now. As the elevator descends, Emma leans against him, drawing strength from his steady presence. When does it get easier? Us, I mean. Alex's arm tightens around her. I wish I could promise it soon. But relationships like ours, with public scrutiny, family complications, professional entanglements, they're never simple. Is it worth it? Emma asks softly, voicing the doubt that's been growing with each new challenge. Alex turns her to face him, his expression more vulnerable than she's ever seen it. Emma, meeting you has been the most unexpected and valuable thing that's happened to me in years. Whatever comes next, whatever we have to face, it's worth it to me. The question is it worth it to you? The elevator doors open to the parking garage, where Alex's driver waits. Emma knows her answer could define their path forward, or end it altogether. Yes, she says finally, it's worth it to me too. Relief washes over Alex's features. Then we'll face whatever comes next together. As they drive toward Alex's home, soon to be her temporary sanctuary, Emma's phone buzzes with a news alert. The headline makes her blood run cold. Pregnant executive accused of corporate espionage. Westfield CEO stands by girlfriend despite mounting evidence. Below the headline is a photo of Emma leaving Gerald's office, looking tired and worried, with Alex's protective arm around her. The accompanying article quotes sources close to the investigation, painting her as a calculating manipulator who used both Tyler and Alex to advance her career. It's starting, Emma says quietly, showing Alex the phone. He reads it quickly, his jaw tight with anger. This is just the beginning of their attack, but we're ready. Emma places her hand protectively over her belly, feeling the baby shift within her. For the first time since this ordeal began, she feels a fierce new determination replacing her fear. This isn't just about her reputation anymore, or even her relationship with Alex. It's about the future she's fighting to build for her child. A future where truth prevails over manipulation, where love isn't limited by status or circumstance. Yes, she agrees, her voice stronger. We're ready. 3 weeks later, Emma stands at the back of the Westfield Corporation press room, watching as Alex addresses a sea of reporters. His commanding presence fills the space, voice steady as he delivers the prepared statement. As of this morning, Tyler Reynolds has been arrested on multiple charges, including corporate espionage, cybercrime, and filing false statements, Alex announces. Evidence provided by his former employer conclusively proves that Mr. Reynolds acted alone in illegally accessing Westfield's servers using stolen credentials. All allegations against Ms. Parker have been thoroughly investigated and dismissed. Emma releases a breath she feels like she's been holding for weeks. The nightmare is finally ending. The past 21 days had been a blur of legal meetings, board inquiries, and media scrutiny. Living with Alex had been her sanctuary through it all, his home becoming a fortress against the chaos, his unwavering faith in her a lifeline when doubt threatened to pull her under. Furthermore, Alex continues, Westfield Corporation extends its sincere apologies to Ms. Parker for the distress caused by these false accusations. She has conducted herself with exceptional professionalism throughout this ordeal, exemplifying the integrity and resilience that make her a valued member of our executive team. Emma places a protective hand on her now 7-month baby bump. The stress of the investigation had prompted several concerned visits to her obstetrician, but thankfully, both she and the baby had remained healthy. After fielding several questions, Alex concludes the press conference with practiced efficiency. As the reporters disperse, he makes his way directly to Emma, his public persona softening the moment their eyes meet. "You did well," she says, squeezing his hand. "I meant every word," he replies. "You've been extraordinary through all this." Vivian joins them, tablet in hand. The initial media response is positive. The narrative is already shifting to vindicated executive, rather than suspected spy. She shows them several supportive headlines appearing on major business news sites. "What about Meridian?" Emma asks, still concerned about the account that had inadvertently started this nightmare. "Their CEO called personally this morning," Alex reports. "They're not only staying with us but expanding the contract. Apparently, watching how we handled this crisis impressed them with our integrity under pressure." Emma shakes her head, amazed at how completely the situation has reversed. "And the board?" "Unanimously voted to formally clear you of all allegations," Vivian confirms. Even Benjamin conceded that the evidence against Tyler is irrefutable. The evidence had indeed been damning. Gerald's strategy had worked brilliantly. Tyler's employer, faced with potential legal exposure, had conducted their own internal investigation. They discovered not only that Tyler had used Emma's stolen credentials, but that he had documented his plans in emails to friends, boasting about how he would make her pay for choosing her baby over him. "There's something else," Vivian adds, her expression brightening. "The digital marketing campaign you developed for Meridian. Early metrics show it's outperforming projections by 43%. The client specifically mentioned your insights as game-changing." Pride swells in Emma's chest. This success is entirely her own, based on her professional merits, completely separate from her relationship with Alex. "I think this calls for a celebration," Alex suggests. "Dinner tonight?" "Actually," Vivian interjects with an apologetic smile, "Emma and I have plans already. Sorry, boss." Alex raises an eyebrow at Emma, who grins. "Girls' night. We've been planning it for weeks. Jade's coming too." "I wouldn't dream of interfering," Alex says graciously. Tomorrow night, then? There's something important I'd like to discuss." The serious undertone in his voice sends a flutter of anticipation through Emma. Tomorrow sounds perfect. Later that evening, at an upscale restaurant's private dining room, Emma relaxes for the first time in weeks. Surrounded by Vivian, Jade, and several female colleagues who had supported her during the investigation, she feels a sense of belonging that extends beyond her relationship with Alex. To Emma, Vivian raises her glass of champagne while Emma lifts her sparkling water. Who faced corporate terrorism with more grace than most of us show on our best days? And who's still rocking 7-month pregnancy fashion better than anyone has a right to? Jade adds, prompting laughter around the table. As conversation flows, Emma excuses herself briefly to visit the restroom. When she returns, she's surprised to find Victoria Caldwell has joined the group. "Victoria?" Emma says cautiously, remembering their last encounter. "I didn't realize you'd be here." "Last-minute addition," Victoria explains, rising to greet her. "I hope that's all right. I wanted to congratulate you personally on your vindication." Something has changed in Victoria's demeanor, the calculating coldness replaced by what appears to be genuine cordiality. "Thank you," Emma responds, still wary as they both retake their seats. "That's very kind." Victoria smiles slightly. "I also owe you an apology. I made assumptions about you and your relationship with Alex that were unfair." The unexpected admission catches Emma off guard. "What changed your mind?" "Gerald, actually," Victoria says, surprising Emma further. "We had lunch last week. He spoke quite highly of your handling of the investigation. Coming from Gerald Westfield, that's practically a coronation." Emma can't help but laugh. "He's not what I initially thought." "Few Westfields are," Victoria agrees knowingly. "For what it's worth, I've never seen Alex as happy as he is with you. Not even close." Before Emma can respond, Victoria raises her glass. "To unexpected outcomes," she toasts, "and finding where you truly belong." The evening continues pleasantly, even Victoria integrating smoothly into the group. By the time Emma returns to Alex's home, their home, temporarily at least, she feels lighter than she has in months. She finds Alex in his study, reading glasses perched on his nose as he reviews documents. He looks up when she enters, his face brightening. "Good night?" he asks, setting aside his work. "Surprisingly wonderful," Emma confirms, settling beside him on the couch. Victoria showed up. Alex's eyebrows rise. "That must have been interesting." "It was actually nice," Emma admits. "She apologized for misjudging me, said your father spoke highly of me to her." Alex looks thoughtful. "My father continues to surprise me lately. We had dinner last week, just the two of us, first time in years. He talked about my mother, really talked about her, how they were in the beginning before family expectations and corporate pressures changed things." "What was she like?" Emma asks softly. "Creative, determined, authentic." Alex's eyes meet Emma's. "Like you in many ways. But she lost herself trying to fit into the Westfield mold. My father regrets that now, I think. Too late for them, but—" He trails off, something unspoken hovering between them. Emma takes his hand. "Not too late for you." "No," Alex agrees. "Not too late for me." The next evening, Alex takes Emma to the rooftop garden of his building, a private oasis transformed for the occasion with twinkling lights and fragrant flowers. A small table is set for dinner, the city skyline providing a spectacular backdrop. "This is incredible," Emma breathes, taking in the romantic setting. "I wanted tonight to be special," Alex says, helping her to her seat. "We've been through so much these past weeks, I thought we deserved a moment of peace." Throughout dinner, Emma notices Alex seems slightly nervous, unusual for a man typically so self-assured. As dessert arrives, he takes her hand across the table. "These past months have been the most challenging and most rewarding of my life," he begins. "Meeting you, getting to know you, it's changed everything for me, Emma." Her heart quickens as Alex reaches into his pocket and produces not a ring box, as she momentarily expected, but a small silver key. "This isn't a marriage proposal," he clarifies, seeing her confusion. "Not yet. I think we both know that would be rushing things, given everything that's happened." Emma nods, appreciating his thoughtfulness. "This is the key to a new home," Alex continues. "Not my penthouse, not your apartment. A new place for a new beginning. Somewhere we could build something together, at our own pace. No pressure, no expectations, just possibility." He places the key in her palm. "Your lease is up next month. I thought perhaps if you wanted we could consider living together officially. You, me, and when the time comes, the baby." Tears spring to Emma's eyes at the beautiful simplicity of his offer. Not a grand gesture or public declaration, but something meaningful and practical, a foundation they can build upon. "I'd like to show it to you," Alex says. "It's a brownstone not far from here. Plenty of room, a small garden, good schools nearby. But if it's not right, we can find something that is." "You've thought about schools?" Emma asks, touched by how thoroughly he's considered their future. "I've thought about everything," Alex admits. "Sunday morning pancakes, birthday parties, first days of school. All of it, Emma. With you." Emma feels a tear slip down her cheek. "I never expected this. When I walked into that interview 7 months pregnant, you turned my world upside down," Alex finishes for her, "in the best possible way." "Yes," Emma says, closing her fingers around the key. "Yes to the home, yes to building something together." Alex's face lights up with genuine joy as he leans across the table to kiss her. The moment is interrupted by Emma suddenly gasping, placing a hand on her belly. "What is it? Are you all right?" Alex asks, immediately concerned. Emma laughs, taking his hand and placing it where the baby is kicking energetically. "I think someone else is saying yes too." 2 months later, Emma waddles through the front door of their brownstone, 9 months pregnant and exhausted after her last day at work before maternity leave. The house has transformed in the weeks since they moved in, no longer just a beautiful shell but a true home filled with both their personalities. She finds Alex in the nursery, putting final touches on the crib he insisted on assembling himself despite his limited handyman skills. "How was the handover meeting?" he asks, setting down his screwdriver. "Smooth," Emma reports. "The team has everything under control for the 3 months I'll be out. Vivian's promotion to executive creative director is official, by the way." "Well deserved," Alex nods approvingly. "She called me earlier about the new diversity initiative you developed. The board approved it unanimously." Emma smiles with satisfaction. Her professional accomplishments continue to stand on their own merit, her relationship with Alex enhancing rather than defining her career. "Oh, and your father called," she adds. "Sunday dinner is confirmed. He's actually having the chef prepare something pregnancy-appropriate, whatever that means." Alex laughs. "Probably bland and overcooked, but the gesture is pure Gerald." The evolution of Gerald Westfield from adversary to grudging ally to something approaching family had been one of the most unexpected developments of recent months. His gruff exterior remained, but his actions increasingly revealed genuine acceptance of Emma and the coming baby. "Come here," Alex says, patting the cushioned window seat beside him. As Emma settles in, he wraps his arm around her shoulders, his free hand resting on her rounded belly. "Happy?" Emma considers the question, reflecting on the journey that began with a hostile job interview and led to this moment of profound contentment. "Incredibly," she answers truthfully. "Even with the media attention, the complications, my occasionally overbearing father. Even with all of it," Emma confirms. "Though I could do without the swollen ankles." Alex laughs, pressing a kiss to her temple. "Any regrets?" Emma thinks of that pivotal moment in the interview room when she could have simply accepted rejection and walked away. How different her life would be now if she hadn't stood her ground that day. Not a single one, she says, turning to meet his gaze. The best journeys rarely follow the paths we expect. Outside their window, the first snow of winter begins to fall, dusting the world in pristine white, a blank canvas for the new life they're creating together, both the one growing inside her and the one they're building day by day. "I love you," Alex says simply. "Both of you." As Emma leans into his embrace, she marvels at how a moment of professional humiliation transformed into the beginning of her most precious adventure. From rejection to connection, from mockery to respect, from isolation to belonging, an unexpected journey that proved sometimes life's most beautiful gifts arrive in the most challenging packages. "We love you too," she whispers back as their baby kicks against Alex's palm, a small but mighty affirmation of the family they've become. If you enjoyed today's video, I'm sure you'll love the next one. Don't waste time. Just click on the screen.